four button presses instead of one. I thought one was sufficient, but apparently it is not. Here we are. Welcome to the February live chat for 2023, everyone. As you can see, I've once again wrangled the mouthy maven herself, Andrea,
Hello.
as we just call her Andy, into joining me so we can do funny, stupid things, answer questions. We'll probably cover the fact that she finished up recording Aether's Revival 6 today
We
and
did.
is slated currently to start in on Antecedent's Legacy on Monday.
Si,
Have you have you
senor.
have you have you haven't read through it yet, have you?
No, not yet. That's the next two. That's the next like 2 days, basically. Is
Ah,
prep
so
days.
so you are completely in the dark with only my comments to you on various things about
Which is a terrifying place to be, but
what fun awaits you. Ah, yes.
nothing beats the anticipation of 750 people all asking me, are you excited about getting to say all the names? It's like, ah, I'm terrified.
There's only I know there's one name that has no vowels at all, and then there's one name that's like 16 vowels and maybe one consonant. It'll be fine.
I swear. I swear. You do this just to fuck with me. I know you do.
I want to say yes, but honestly, no. I was just like, it's an alien. Its name is going to look like this. And then, I get through everything. I've finished it. I handed it off to my editors, and my editor looks at me and goes, Andy's going to hate you. What? Have you seen this name? Oh, it only gets said like twice. It'll be fine.
Son
Swear,
of
it
a
totally
bitch.
won't be horrible at all.
Uh-huh. That's what you always say.
Yeah,
Yeah, it never is, though.
you could totally trust me. Don't worry about it.
That is a terrible idea. Actually, no, it's not. But you know what? It's
It's
good.
some things it actually is a terrible idea.
What is it?
So
We had a
welcome
guy.
in, everyone. Hmm?
So Jelef says we had a guy in the army whose last name started with a Z and was called 20 letter because nobody wanted to try. Sorry. I saw that as it ran by. That made me laugh. Okay, continue.
Well, I mean, I've come across those last names before. I mean, I always thought Shinhofen was kind of a mouthful, but then I've seen other people's last names, and I've been like, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna do to you what's been done to me. I'm not gonna try to butcher that name. If
Yep.
you could tell me how to say that last name, great. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna pull like 3 letters out of it and shorten it down and just call you something different.
I used to think Parsno was bad. And granted, nobody knows how to say it for the most part until you tell them like 75 times, but it's not as bad as some I've seen. Like some are still
Well,
just woof.
honestly, it looks vaguely French, so I
It is.
probably would have gone with Parsney because
Yeah.
the French the Parsney.
Mhm. It would be so good. Just everyone going, "Oh, so your name is Andrea Prelsny?" Just super overemphasized. That'd be the best. Yeah, it is French. I think it's French Canadian or something like that.
So you're angry but polite. Got it.
Precisely that, which I feel is super accurate if we're being
Actually,
honest.
that makes so much sense now. Actually,
I am the Marshmallow Paladin.
I am going to be super angry and then ask you really, really nicely if we cannot do that.
Yeah, they'd be really sorry that I got angry. Just beat myself up for the next 2 weeks about it.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay, guys, before we jump into everything, I'm gonna start in with the quick roundup of things that have come before and things that are coming up. So, Anticide's Legacy came out nearly a month ago now. Good sales. I'm really looking forward to it. I am sure that a certain person who has 20 million voices and that I overwork to death will do a great job when she performs it. And she says, "No, I don't work her over to death." So, challenge accepted. Um, the next book I'm going to publish is going to be Dungeon Walkers 4. That is going to be audio done by Stephanie Savannah, who stepped in for Travis Baldry in book 3 and will finish out book 4 because Dungeon Walkers 4 will be the closing out of that series. Antecedent's Legacy, of course, is filling that slot. I just put it out before Dungeon Walkers 4 happened because I wanted to know if it was going to be okay or not first. Um, and then after Dungeon Walkers 4, it is going to be Lux Voice 6, which is Emerita Boxing Day, which that title will become more apparent when somebody sees a cover eventually. Of course, there are multiple reasons, and I found it quite humorous when my girlfriend suggested me the title, and I went, "I'm totally using that now." So, and then after that, I will finally get around to Binding Words 10. For those who are wondering what I am currently writing, Lux Voice 6 just got finished up, so Binding Words 10 for me is right around the corner. Luckily, I have Binding Words 9 audio that I can listen to because that got published not that long ago. So I have a nice little fallback for my walks to keep me in character when I am writing. Audio wise, like I said, Andy just finished up Aether's Arrival 6 today. So that is going off to her audio editor. It'll be a couple of weeks to a few weeks before I get that to listen to it. Before I say, "Oh my God, Andy, how do you get the E's out of eyes? Can you please go back and fix that?"
It was so good. I was so convinced. Like there was just, it was so smooth, not even registering what I was saying. Just not even hearing it. Just he watched with his ease, was it? Or he watched with
He followed her
what's
with his E's.
he followed her with his ease and it was supposed to be eyes. And it's like literally just read as he followed her with his ease, watching her as she descended. Like it's not at all. You can't. I had no idea what I was saying. That's which I feel is a motto for my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those few corrections that I listened to it, replayed it, listened to it,
That's a good
replayed
one,
it,
man.
listened to it again,
It's right up there with Dome of Bone or Bone of Dome.
and then starting on Monday, if everything works out, Andy is waiting on some cables. She will be starting in on Antecedents Legacy on Monday. So if you want to hear the first stumbles of alien names come from Andy, it should be on Monday.
It is when it will be there. The we're just waiting for a cable to connect two interfaces together. So as long as it delivers on Sunday like it's supposed to, which is always a question in BFE Maine in the winter, but as long as that cable comes in on Sunday, we're good to go on Monday. Yes, it's for my BDSM setup. Indeed.
We don't talk about what's actually in her basement besides her recording studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
There's a whole thing like right on the other side of that wall.
They
Just whips and chains.
they were still getting it set up when I was there, and I was like, "This is ambitious, guys.
Just wall to wall
Nicely
whips and
done."
chains. Yeah.
I'm here for the coins. Well, don't worry, we'll be giving out the challenge coins at the end of things. Will we be graced with more bloopers? I actually don't know. Did you get bloopers this time through Aether?
Not for this one. Yeah. I'm not sure why, but this one I just didn't get as many bloopers out of it. I think I got 2 and it would just wasn't enough to record them for a blooper reel. So, they'll be back for AL, I guarantee you.
Okay, I know that's one of those things that people love, especially when there's an Elsa. There was no Elsa this time. That's probably why. So
Well,
we
it's
didn't have any
somebody
shitting in eggs this time. So
so somebody asked why I thought that there wasn't bloopers, and I said I think it might just be the tone is a little different because it's very serious, like Gregory being very serious with his men. There's not a lot of like heavy double entendre in a lot of different ways. It's I don't know. It was a more seriously toned in a lot of ways, so I wanted to be more
well
into it.
there were
I had to be more serious for Gregory.
there were I want to say 2 or 3 times that you didn't record when you riffed
Mhm.
off on a tangent.
Yep.
If you had actually recorded those, they easily could have been bloopers. Because my favorite bloopers from you are when you're still in character and you just go off tangent. You keep telling Jen from book 2, "Stay away from my man, bitch, or I'll cut you." Is like yeah. What could have been?
Uh, yeah, there were a couple of them where I would just riff for a second, but I just didn't have them queued up for bloopers.
Those are my favorite bloopers though. When you just stay in character and just go off. There were a couple times during the end of book 6 when they're at the tournament where the judges are being unfair, as it were, to Gregory.
Oh, yeah.
That you easily could have
Oh, yeah.
clipped out from just you motherfuckers.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, but I'm also I'm a foresight magi, of course, but I also can't make water or start campfires or purify. I can't do any of the shit that the other magi can do. But oh yeah, handicap me because I'm foresight, motherfuckers. I got mad at the. I get mad at the bad guys, even when they're not really bad guys.
To be fair, I've gotten a lot of talk back from people who were upset that Gregory was being kept out of different competitions because of his foresight, just because they didn't know how to handle it and just decided to take the easy road of, and you can't participate,
Yeah,
not you.
yeah, that's exactly. It's like you sons of bitches. Man, he can't do the other like this. Okay, let's be honest. This is a world of magic. It's magic. Magic is magic. So if we're gonna play the whose magic is better magic game, I feel like that's a train that none of us are gonna ever get to the end of. Like that's just there's never an end. Magic is magic and magic. If we start, yeah, your magic is cheating. No, how about you can set shit on fire with your mind? That's cheating. I get mad at it. Anyway, I'm done.
Arctic book 4 audio for Dungeon Walkers. I have no idea because once it gets published, I'll hand it off to Mountaindale Press. They'll talk to Stephanie Savannah. They'll work with her schedule. So, as with all audio, it will come out eventually. If I want to take the word from William Arand, when's the audio coming out? Eventually. I mean, because like Andy just finished recording it. It's with her editor. She's gonna get it. I'm gonna get she's gonna give it to me. I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna give her back that. She's gonna fix things. Then we're gonna hand it to ACX, and then we have an unknown amount of time. Roll a d20, give or take another infinite number of years,
Mhm.
and then it'll finally be out. We have no idea. Since we are not a publishing company, we can't even do something like, and I would like this thing published pre-order out on this date, please, because independent authors don't get that. Only publishing companies get that kind of pull.
You technically, in case somebody's gonna get pedantic about it, you can technically pull it off, but it takes much longer. You have to have the audio way in advance, and you have to schedule when you're gonna turn it into them. It's a whole process that takes like an additional 2, 3 months. It's a whole thing. And then they may not grant it to you. So it's not
So
realistic. It's not impossible, but it's not realistic.
we don't get it. Well,
Thank you,
thank you.
Zia.
You, yeah, right. Thought she was talking about
Well,
me.
yours does look fabulous.
My abundance of hair on top of my head. So much there. It's so hard to manage most days. Need to pull out the good old fashioned frindle and make E's the correct way of saying eyes. I mean, some people might have issues with that, but I'd be fine.
Hey, if we can put Icker on the list too, that'd be amazing. I'd appreciate that one because I like
Icor?
Icker way better.
You mean the
Iker.
Icor?
It sounds like a Frankenstein villain sidekick. It's
No,
Icor.
no,
Icker.
it sounds like the people in charge of military. Who are you
Yeah.
talking to? Icor?
Yeah, you gotta go see him up at Icor. Fucking Icker. It's Icker. It's not Icker. It's Iker.
Antecedents Legacy will have bloopers, and I wonder what the over under on how many times Damn It Daniel happens. Well, the Damn It Daniel at least won't happen in the bloopers, probably. But
Challenge accepted.
but the over under on Damn It Daniels on the Discord server, I'm gonna say at least 20. I'm gonna set the bar at 20.
Yeah. That's
Because
conservative estimate.
I know that there's at least a good few names in there that should get it, and then after that, it's gonna just depend.
Yeah, it's a good strong estimate.
The Nick Greg bromance in book 1. I was very proud of Aether's subverting some ideas of what people thought was going to be book 1. When Nick was the good guy and Hayworth was the bad guy for the majority of book 1. And then as the series goes on, you find out that Nick is just a fucking tool, and Hayworth can actually learn.
Yeah.
So
I like Hayworth. Hayworth is one of those voices that like strong choice on Hayworth. Had to figure out how to make that work later. Because that's not an easy voice to make not sound like a jackass. Soon as Hayworth started getting good, I was like, well, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, but sometimes the voice doesn't tell you everything about a person. It's
I
just one of
kinda
those
like that.
times.
Yeah, I kinda like the weird subverting expectations with voices, so I'm all for it.
I mean,
Maybe
it fit
some
him
who
perfectly
sounds
in
like a
book
jackass is
one.
really nice.
I mean, it fit him perfectly in book one. There was no saying that he was going to become a friendly, nice guy later at that point in time. So, I mean, I think you nailed the voice considering who he was at the time.
Thank you.
Especially Nick. Nick was like the cool guy next door. Hey man, let's go hang out. Everything was fine. And then later you find out I'm a smarmy bastard who wants to drug your girlfriend and get her into the clan.
Also, I just noticed my mom's in the chat. I
Your mom's
see.
here too.
Yeah, I
Everyone's
see
here.
Parsnose TJ. That's my mom.
My, my,
She's
my,
she's the editor, so she's the one giving riffing on herself there, guys. Hell, mom.
my parents are also both here, so
Yay!
it is family stream tonight. Don't worry, it won't be kept PG-13
Oh,
because I don't know how to do that.
that ship sailed a long time ago with my mom. Long time ago.
I believe it was back in Wild Waste, wasn't it?
There's been a lot of it ever since then. My mom and I have trauma therapy over this.
I'm just thinking of the story you tell where your mom was handling Wild Waste 1
Yep.
and she was across the house from you
Yep.
taking care of it.
Yep. I had like walked off for a booth break, like I had taken a break or I was done for the day, one of the two, I can't remember. Mom sitting at the computer editing Wild Wastes, and all I hear is from across the house, "He fucks an ant!" And that set the tone for the rest of the just screamed out, "He fucks an ant?" And I have not laughed that hard before or since. That made me laugh so incredibly hard. Petra. My little Petra.
That was when I knew that no matter what I wrote in my books, that you'd probably be fine being able to handle it. So, I'm like,
Not
well,
insects.
she can handle ant sex. I'm not throwing her for a loop. Wait, DJ is
Aw.
keeping up with chat. What is this sorcery? I have helpers, and I'm actually trying to scroll back to where I was because I made a mistake and left the questiony things that I had.
Chaos reigns!
Okay, chaos. There's an Andy here, so of course chaos has followed.
I just read the questions when I see them.
Right?
I follow no order.
We know. We know. If anybody who's ever played a game with Andy knows.
This is true. I just do the thing that is the most prevalent that my brain wants to do at that moment.
Well, what I love about that though is normally she'll do things and then she'll go, "Oh, I
Yeah,
shouldn't have done that.
I shouldn't have done that. I
I
shouldn't
should have
have
done
done
this,
that.
this, and this instead."
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you
yeah,
really should have.
I should have.
It's
It
okay. We
disappoints
can
me
make
so
it
much.
work.
I get so upset, especially in like Across the Obelisk, where it's a game, it's a card battler. So it's all about like playing the cards in the right dadgum order. And I will play like 3 cards, and Daniel will go, "You probably should have played the one that was based on your hand size first." And I'm like, "Yes, yes, we all know that, Daniel. We all know I should have played that card first, but I didn't. Now, did I?" So it's a little frustrating because I don't see it until it's too late. But I'm fun to play with.
She's fun to play
She's
with because you
terrible.
never know what you're gonna get.
Okay.
Andy playing a game is a box of chocolates. It's just half the time you end up with nougat.
Yep. Yep.
Mm,
Because nougat's the best one, and you just didn't know you wanted it.
I think I broke a tooth.
Yeah, I always feel disappointed because my goal is never to like frustrate the person I'm playing with. It's one of the reasons that I don't play with more people is because I'm always nervous I'm going to annoy people. So like every time I mess up, I'm like, "Oh, son of a bitch."
If I was gonna get annoyed playing with you, Andy, I think it would have happened in the first
Oh,
year, not 2.5, 3 years
yeah,
in.
it would have been a long time ago. Yeah.
To be fair, he might have been kept from participating, but Greg was declared an arms master. Yes, he was at the very end of book 6, Chopper. For those people who were confused about that, he had fought and defeated with their preferred weapons Jin Watashi, who used his sword, Egil, Magi Killer with his Naginata, and General Ruzi, who also used his weapon. So 3 arms masters defeated with their preferred weapons. That's what it takes, because people were always wondering, how do you become an arms master? You duel and defeat 3 other arms masters with their preferred weapons. It doesn't have to be specifically the same weapon, just whatever they're best at. So technically, at this point, Gregory just needs to kick another arms master's ass with the Guandao, because he has beat Egil once and Jin once with that weapon as well. So, but maybe that'll come up in some other book sometime. I don't know. All the hair on your head went to your epic beard. Well, I mean, it's kind of true. Kind of true. It's also going very gray. I blame my sisters. So,
Hey, you've got that cool stripy gray though. Makes you kind of look like a supervillain. It's awesome.
Give me another 10 years, it'll probably just be full gray. And then I'll just look like Santa, like a really depressed Santa Claus. Okay, there. I caught back up to I was keeping up with chat, because that was totally ever going to happen normally, right? How do you pronounce kludge? Hey, I'm glad Raptor could make it in. How do you pronounce kludge? Is it kludge? Is it kludge?
I believe that's kludge, but if it's an actual word, I'd look it up. That's just what I always do.
I'm pretty sure it's a word, but like you, I'm like,
let's look it up.
Okay.
Go about your business.
Actually, CB, the only name I regret in Antecedent's Legacy is the elf, because it is a very long name. And I don't regret doing it to Andy. I regret doing it to me, because I have to write it out.
'Tis kludge, by the way.
It is kludge.
It is kludge.
I love the progression of Hayward. It shows that even idiots can change. If only we saw more of them change in real life. That would be amazing. My daughter is all over me to tell you that your lights are beautiful. I know that one's directed at you and not at me, because my room is just bright. I don't have like color. Oh, see, look. Now she has mood lighting.
I can make them all kinds of different colors. There. Wow, that one looks the same exact color on the camera. That's weird. That is 2 wildly different colors in person, but that is actually just the same thing on camera. Wow, that looks
really that's very aggressive with the red. I just want to say.
Actually, it's the Sith lights. I like my Sith lights. Okay. My Imperial lights.
Evil Andy has come.
Okay, put it back on white. It's not true white. It's actually blue, but thank you.
For Antecedent's Legacy, how did the music files get created? Just from memory? Yes, yeah. That's what happens when you have an AI stuck in your head. That a lot of your basically memories can just be condensed into like a format and then sent off. Andy has no idea what I'm talking about, and it'll be funny when she gets there.
At this point, I'm just nervous more than anything else.
It'll be fine.
Wait, what?
Just bite the pillow.
How many songs?
Oh, wait.
How much singing?
Oh, so much singing, and done in a specific character voice. It'll be fine. It'll totally be fine. Don't worry about it. It's only a high-pitched, squeaky character singing. It's
son of a bitch. It's all fluffy.
I just want to know who named Skippy hurt you, sir. Actually, Apollo, the story of Skippy goes back to Alpha World. The character Skippy from Alpha World was so reviled by my fans at the time that they kept saying they wanted him to die over and over again. So I have given them their request in every series basically since. I introduce a Skippy, and then I kill a Skippy. And normally it's fairly quick. The only Skippy who lasted longer was the Skippy you didn't know was a Skippy until just before he died, which was Carver from Binding Words. Because
Oh, yeah.
nobody called him by his first name until just before he got killed.
That's right. His name was Skippy. I forgot about that.
Skippy Carver. Everyone just
Yeah.
called him Carver because it's Binding Words. Last names are the norm. So
Didn't this
yes,
Skippy in Luck's voice live for a while? He got taken out
mm,
of his position
yeah, it was
fast, but didn't he live for
like
a while?
no 2 chapters. He gets knocked out by Doc in chapter 2 or 3,
Yeah.
and then he comes back like 2 chapters later with a shotgun to kill him.
Oh, that's right. That is Skippy. Never mind. Yep.
Skippy died quick.
Yeah, Skippy died quick.
My editors have been fine with me reusing the name Skippy as long as they die relatively soon after they get introduced. So, Andy, when you read Antecedent's Legacy, see if you can spot the Skippy before Skippy gets named.
I will see. Well, it'll be like, where's Waldo on the server? Except where's Skippy?
Where's Skippy? Hey, Andy's mom, thank you so much for doing a great job with your daughter.
Ah, you hear that, Mom?
You hear that, Mom? You get props. Props. It is Momception. We have all the moms here today.
All the
Very
moms.
fairly dangerous. Way too many parental units.
We have real mom. We have like
Huh?
biological moms. We have
Oh,
stream
they want to see the
moms.
whole shirt? Okay. Oh, there you go. Oh, I got it. Hang on. There you go.
Although, wait, now they said pork around and find.
Exactly.
Can
Spork
we have
around
a
to find out.
variant shirt that says pork around and find?
I would need to change the logo from the spork to like a ham with bone then if I did that.
Special edition.
Special edition. Pork around and find out.
Oh,
Andy, will you ever?
in
Go
interest of
ahead.
tradition.
She has the Aether shirt on this time. So
Yep.
didn't
I
we?
always wear a Daniel shirt.
Didn't we flip that last time? The last time you were on, did I wear the Aethers and
Yeah,
you wore the?
you were wearing Aethers and I had the spork around.
And we didn't talk about it either time. So
Nope.
well done, us.
High fives.
High five, bro. Andy, would you ever visit 20 Books in Vegas?
I don't have anything against it. I have family friends. I have really close family friends that live in Vegas that I could go and see. It's more just a question of time typically. I only have so many times I can block off during the year to go do stuff because every time I travel, it's not just the travel, it's the possibility of getting sick, it's going through all the airports and stuff, so it's always a calculated risk for me to travel. So,
Yeah, I get sick. It might be a day off of working. If Andy gets sick, it's probably a week or more off of
yeah.
working.
It's bad. Being voice acting and being sick, especially for audiobooks where it's long form narration, so we have to sound like consistent throughout everything. It's not just it's not like commercial VO where you can like, all right, I'm gonna neti pot the crap out of myself, put a bunch of nasal spray in, and I can get out those 3 commercial spots this afternoon. It's not like that. I gotta be able to like do a bunch of voices and make it sound not terrible and not my editor not hate me because there's nasal pops all in it and that kind of stuff. So not to mention I just lose my voice when I'm sick.
Well,
So
that I'm not sure 20 Books in Vegas would actually the 20 Books conventions in Vegas or the ones they do in Europe would actually be great for you because it's not like you're out shopping for authors trying to get more work. So
I would be going purely to visit. Yeah, I'd be
yeah,
going just to say hi. Yeah.
totally. She means it's totally a business trip. She's totally going for business related purposes.
Yes. That's
In case
exactly why I am
in,
going, tax man who's
in,
definitely
in
listening.
case the government ever comes back and watches the video later, just saying.
Yeah.
Totally the reason why. Like I'm totally making a trip into Colorado to ride on some old steam trains, which is totally research for Lux Voice. Total business trip. The whole thing, business trip. Research purposes. That's my story.
I do. Mom says, "Where's my shirt?" I need to send mom a shirt at some point. Yeah, I need to send mom a shirt at some point because she's the one who edits all the books.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I have
mom's not out.
I do have some shirts still left. I have a lot of Alpha World shirts. Because I got over ambitious when I first ordered shirts way back 5 years ago or whatever it was. So I got like boxes of Alpha World shirts that I'm still trying to get people to take off me. Um, but I have shirts for every other series. I still have like most sizes except for Binding Words. The shirt sizes
Binding
for
words.
Binding Words are minuscule now because they've actually run out the most, which makes sense. People love
It's a
Binding
great shirt.
Words.
Yeah, it's a great shirt and a great series.
So
Um,
I will tease that I am looking at changing the format of the shop where people can get shirts and stuff from me. Um, if that happens, then you'd be able to pick up a Binding Word shirt again, no matter what size you are. If it works out, guys, it's a work in progress. So don't 100% think it's coming yet. I wish there was more information on what happened to Nick in book 6. I mean, I can't cover everything in every book. You got to pick and choose. They're not there. They're not privy to the inner workings of the Eternal Flame. They don't have like an insider. They didn't, subvert Jason to being friendly with them and have him feed them all the information or anything. So it's one of those things like there'll probably be a rumor that comes out sometime in the next couple of years for them. So maybe book 7, 8, 9, something like that. We might find out whatever happened to Nick after he fucked up during the Buldoon tournament. But the main characters wouldn't know outside of snippets of hearsay, depending on who was who spread rumors. So I understand. I have a lot of people still wondering exactly what happened to Chucky from book 4. I'm like, I'll tell you, Chucky died. The how he died and why he died, you'll probably never find out. But yes, Chucky died.
and I don't want to tell you.
Andy, there's a very serious question on the screen for you.
I will hurt you, Kuma. I will hurt you.
That's an inside server joke there. So
Ah, yeah, playing Conan Exiles real fast. All it is, playing Conan Exiles together on the server. All of us were playing. I had set fish traps. Could not figure out why my fish traps never had fish in them ever. I say something about it one day while I'm playing, and I think it was Serenia. It was either Serenia or Dame who pops up and goes, "Fish traps." Oh yeah, Kuma's been getting those. Kuma's been taking the fish out of those. And Kuma came onto the server a little bit later and I'm like, "Kuma, you stole all my fucking fish." And he's like, I don't think I so much stole your fish as I took the fish that were in the fish traps. And I'm like, "Yeah, my fish traps." And he's like, but are they yours? You weren't on. And so now ever since then, it's been haunting me for more fish.
almost feels like maybe you want to order like a plane drop of fish and just drop it on top of Kuma's
Just
house.
once. Just once.
Like just like 30 fish drop from the plane as it flies by.
Yeah.
Here's your fish.
Here's your freaking fish. You mean our fish, the fisher community. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was community fish unintentionally. Could not figure out why I never had any fish, even though I built the fish traps.
I went and checked my traps, the ones that said created by, and for whatever reason, they were empty again.
Never had fish. It was very confusing. Fish used to be broken as shit in Conan Exiles. They're not anymore. They changed it, but you used to catch like thousands of fish just doing nothing.
I mean, isn't that how fishing works?
I think so. I think
I don't
that's
know.
how the books say it does.
Many people want a stream of your gaming. Yeah, probably wouldn't happen. Yeah, that's downtime.
Yeah.
Normally it's us being very tired and going, oh yeah, Andy going, I should have done that differently. Me going, it's okay, Andy. We understand.
We enjoy our time together just hanging out, but it's not there are spurts of really entertaining moments that would be entertaining from the outside, but a lot of it's just enjoying hanging out and playing a game together. There's like big swaths of silence and stuff where we're just hanging out playing the game. Like
I think if we tried to stream them, we'd probably both be a little more self-conscious. It probably wouldn't be nearly as fun for either of us. So don't take away the fun times. That's not nice. Come on, guys. Don't do that. I found in a lot of gaming that thinking ahead is counterproductive. I mean, it depends on the game, Rob. If you're playing a game that's supposed to be a tactical game, you should probably be thinking ahead. Unless you're Andy, and in which case you just go, meh.
Never. Yeah, you just do the thing that has the shiniest lights on it
That's totally fine.
or the prettiest artwork.
DJ, are you ever going to join us for Jackbox on Andy's server? I mean, maybe. It all depends on when and where and what's going on.
Yeah.
When she does that kind of thing, she does it on Saturdays. Saturdays is when I run my D&D game for my family and friends. So I did conflict of timing for most of that.
Yeah.
So this is why when she was like, "Oh, I'm," when Andy told me she was waiting on cables to record Antecedent's Legacy, I was like, that actually works out for me because I'm going to Vegas on Thursday and then Saturday is gaming. And I really want to be there for the start of it so I can laugh. I mean, listen and help her when she
Dame
needs
was
help.
the same. Yeah, Dame was like, I really want to be there for the beginning of Antecedent's Legacy. So everyone else is happy that I'm starting on Monday. I'm super annoyed that I'm having to start Monday because I wanted to start Saturday just because dadgummit. I know. Get my shit together and schedule it better. We're playing again on Saturday. If anybody wants to drop by, we're playing again on Saturday because I have a down day essentially because waiting for that cord.
Oh, you might as well. I mean, spending time with the community is only helps bolster the community. So
yep.
So that's what I tell myself when I do these.
Yeah. We're hanging out. We'll be doing a Jackbox, probably some actually, and I got a link for an accessible Cards Against Humanity that isn't crappy, so we may try that too.
Oh, chard filled chocolate. So chard being a vegetable.
Yeah,
that Gregory does not.
Brussels sprouts.
Well, I've never specifically said. It could be Brussels sprouts, could be asparagus, could be actual just chard. It's not, but it's a green vegetable of some kind that Gregory is not a fan of. And if you've gone through Aether's Revival, there is a cook, a chef there who created little brownie bites that were filled with various substances. One of them was chard, which Dia had a very pointed comment about what would happen to him if she found the chard flavored brownie again.
Yeah, I mean,
right? I mean, I'm supposed to be eating a little brownie thing that's filled with like berries or something. I'm supposed to have a good time. I don't want to bite into that and suddenly get Brussels sprout in my mouth. Yeah.
See, even you say it's Brussels sprout. 100%. Chard is Brussels sprouts to me. There is no question. I like cabbage. I hate Brussels sprouts. Somebody told me, no, Brussels sprouts are just tiny cabbages. No, they're not. You're lying, and stop telling people that. They are bitter,
spreading
angry.
The lie.
No, yeah. They are the sweaty balls of the cabbage world. They're disgusting. Ugh. They're bitter little things.
So where did the first arms masters come from? I'm going to say that the Emperor went, and you're an arms master, and you're an arms master, and everyone's an arm. No, wait, no, that was Oprah. Hang on. Probably just appointed people who were really great with their weapons as arms masters, and eventually when people went, well, I want to be an arms master, someone went, well, you're going to have to beat me for that. Someone goes, yeah, but I can beat you. Beating you isn't hard. They have to beat me. And eventually they just went, okay, if you beat 3 of us, it'll work. I mean, how everything comes around, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right for the progress of these things. Ow.
Where was I? I was answering questions. That's where I was. Totally answering questions. I am well back, by the way, in chat. So Andy, you're fine. If you're watching questions scroll by, it's just because I'm not there. That's why.
I am restraining myself admirably, by the way. I am not answering any of the stuff I'm seeing roll by, even though there is weird shit like ketchup is just tomatoes that's rolling by right now. And that makes me ask questions. What? I mean, yes, but what did that have to do with anything?
Well, because we were talking about vegetables and food stuff, so of course people are adding in comments. I mean, there is reason for it, kind of.
Makes sense.
It's an odd segue, but it can work.
I thought tomatoes were a berry.
There
was some controversy like that. Was
tomato is a fruit.
Tomatoes are fruit, and berries aren't berries. Like berries had there's something else that was it cucumbers that were a fruit? Some weird designation.
Well, just remember, cashews aren't nuts; they're actually seeds.
They are, and they're delicious.
They're
And
delicious seeds.
also covered in an oil that can kill you.
Well, I mean, if just don't lick it first.
Yeah, that's why cashews are not sold unshelled because they have a caustic oil on the outside of them. And cashew fruit is delicious, apparently, but we don't get
When
that part.
you were sketching Greg's character, was he always going to go with the Naginata, or did you have another weapon in mind as his preference? No, I wanted something different. When I started on Aethers, I was very tired of it's a sword, it's an axe. And I think there were spears in some books that were starting to make headway, and I'm just like, it's an Eastern setting, Eastern-ish setting. So I want something that's not a sword, not, oh my God, he's using a katana like every other hero ever. Um, and I like weapons that have a bit of reach on them because I would like to keep my enemy further away from me. So I went, okay, let's do something other than just a spear then. Let's go with the Naginata. Um, Almost anyone can use a Naginata. And Greg at the time was bone thin, unhealthy, due to lifestyle and how he was raised. So it made sense because Naganatas can honestly be wielded by anyone. So I liked it. I mean, honestly, if you gave Greg a Guandao when he first got to the academy, that would have been hilarious because he would never have been able to use the damn thing.
I don't know what a Guandao is. I have to look it up. I've never looked it up.
Oh, Andy's whispering to herself. I'm worried.
I don't know what a Guandao is. I've never looked it up. Hold on. Oh, that's Guandao. Okay, got it. Fair enough. Yeah, no, he'd probably kill himself with that if he had started out with it.
It's weighty.
Yeah, it's a very big weapon.
So how does Greg improve his skill in weapons if no one is in his skill class? Since he is so much better than anyone else in his command, how is he going to get that much better? Well, for the Naginata, there's very few people who can give him a challenge anymore since he's stepping into what he used to be able to do. With his Min, he could still train like the Wakizashi and still get some practice out of his Min that way, because that is at this point his least practiced weapon. But the Guandao, the Suyari and stuff, it would take more than a single opponent from his unit of Min to give him a challenge. Without using foresight. If he's using foresight, he's still goddamn near a force to be reckoned with, and good luck with that, son. But he probably won't get challenged again with his weapons until he gets someplace where there are people who can actually do so. It won't stop him from using them to keep in practice, but that's just how things go.
I feel like that's the big thing with weapons and weapons forms and stuff. There's only so many kata. There's only so many methods. There's only so many movements you can make with a weapon. The key with improvement in a weapon is just using it in battle, using it in practice, sparring with it. You don't necessarily have to face somebody else with a Naginata. Greg's already done that. However, every time he fights against 30 dudes at one time or, multiple opponents that are difficult, he's still learning. He's still getting better. So he may not be learning new forms, but he's still getting better. He's still learning.
It's a matter of knowing that this block here, that attack there, is better than something else that he tried earlier.
Yeah.
But just for flat skill of two one-on-one fights, no. For the next year at the very least, he's not going to find anyone who can match up to him. Wait till you name an Ent or dragon whose names are in 10 different languages and take an hour to say. Actually, I always felt that way about. I mean, depending on the lore, you could look that way for vampires. How long have you lived? For 1,300 years. My name is, and then 2 hours later, he finally gets to the end of it. Dude, stop collecting names. Try stamps.
Try stamps.
Please.
Sorry.
Just stop with the names.
Get a hobby.
That's not collecting names.
Exactly.
We're just gonna call you Bob because I'm sure there was a Bob in there somewhere, but I kind of blanked
Somewhere,
out after the fifth name.
undoubtedly. Just go with one of the letters. Go with we're gonna call you J. We're gonna call you T. I'm sure there was one in there.
If there's at least one in there, it'll be fine. So we get to hear Andy sing again. Well, Big, eventually there is a book that might be released at some point that
Someday.
features Andy singing.
Someday. It is
They ever
stuck in rights hell.
if they ever get the approvals they need.
Yep. It is stuck in rights hell. It is
Any
Grave Song. It was recorded literally over a year ago at this point.
The only time I ever ask Andy to sing anything in my books now is if it's something that I've put together myself that doesn't require me going to somebody and going, "Hey, can I use that if it's okay? Can I
It's really
literally
tough.
take bits of those songs?" Which is why I try to stay away from it, even in points where it makes sense for like a character to break out like 3 lines of a song because we all do because we know them.
Mhm.
I don't because I know that it can't really be done in an audio format without us getting screwed over somehow. So
Yeah.
I mean, even Little Teapot, it was I should have thought out probably a little bit better, but there's a lot of questions still
It's
about
open.
where that fell when I wrote it originally. And besides, everyone sings it everywhere, so fuck you.
Yeah, technically, I'm a little people. I think that one's public domain. If it's not, it's mired in some
It's
rights hell that no one's gonna come after for.
I hope so. Is that nervous or resigned? If you're talking about Andy being worried about things that I give her to read, it's probably resigned. I don't think
Yeah,
Andy really gets nervous anymore. She's just like, oh, it's Daniel.
that's gonna be a
Great.
thing. Yeah, trepidation is usually the height of it is like, "Oh, that's gonna be a thing." That's the most.
I don't usually listen to audiobooks, but I may need to pick up Antecedent's Legacy just to hear how she handles the names.
I swear.
To be
I
fair,
bet.
I don't listen to a whole lot of audiobooks that are somebody other than Andy narrating them because my bar for what I can listen to somebody telling me about a book has been shattered, and it's hard to go back once you've gotten to a certain threshold.
Thank
So
you.
for me, it's at this point it's pretty much Andy or bust. There are a handful of narrators who do enough performing of a book that I can listen to them and enjoy them. But if it's just somebody reading me the book, I can't listen to that anymore. I didn't care for it before, and I really can't listen to it anymore. I wish Andrea would put out a Christmas album. I mean, sure, Xerox, but
I fucking saw that, Jim.
I know how you feel about being called a diva, Andy. So I had to.
Yeah, do you see what Shank wrote?
What about Andy's bust? I
Yeah,
mean, it's
that was
amazing. I have pictures from Dragon Con when she was in a corset. Trust me.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. The most uncomfortable thing I've ever worn in my life. People who are
Most
like,
corsets
"Corsets
are.
are comfortable. I don't know what you're talking about." Fuck you.
If you if you
You're
if you
lying.
if you if you get one that's been custom made for you, from what I
Maybe
understand,
so.
they're fairly comfortable. But if you just get one off the shelf, no, it's not going to quite conform to your curves. So you're always going to have that one bit of boning that just keeps pinching or poking you.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And it was an overbust corset, which overbust corsets are even more difficult just because there's no bend. There's no bend point to your torso. You're just stuck in this like your shoulders are kind of up, your head is weirdly back, and you're just there. That's just you're stuck that way for the rest of the day. Yeah. There's no
I'm glad
movement.
I'm glad I could be here, guys. I'm
Yeah,
totally
this is
comfortable.
really fun.
It's
This is a
almost
great
like wearing
time.
a halo at that point. It sounds like.
Yeah, this is very uncomfortable.
There's an Andy question. How
Hmm.
hard is it to have one character mimic another character's voice?
It depends on the voices, honestly. Sometimes if they're distinct enough, then it may not be that bad. But if you're talking about like, oh, it's weird factors, like, if you had somebody with, like, a Spaniard vibe to them, and then somebody with, like, a Scottish or Dwarvish vibe to them, and they were trying to mimic each other, then it's gonna be nearly impossible, excuse me, to just not sound like the other one, basically. It's as long as they're different enough, it works out, but it's always a challenge. It's just not that bad.
Are we ever going to have a Skippy hero? No. I agreed to my editor's request that I could reuse a Skippy name if I killed them shortly after introducing them. The only reason I got away with Carver is because I never mentioned his first name until just before I killed him. It's all about the planning. It's just Carver. Nobody. It's just Carver. He's kind of an ass. Nobody thinks about him. And yes, he is in the bog, Jell. Carver is in the bog. He opposed the Sean, and opposing the Sean means you go to the bog.
To the bog with you.
My daughter wants to know what you guys did for Valentine's Day. I stayed home with the girlfriends. My girlfriends went out to the grocery stores and raided half price candy day. One of the few times a year where candy is half price.
Yep. I should have gone and done that. I didn't. I took my car into the shop for an oil change with Hayes, but then we went and had sushi. So we were in Augusta, which I live in tiny town, Maine, so there's nothing here. And so we were in Augusta, which is like a big city. It's the capital, about an hour away. So we just went to dinner while we were there. When we had sushi, it was delicious.
Yeah. Half price candy day is today, Andy. It's the day after things. It's the day after Valentine's Day and the day after
See,
Easter and the day after Halloween. The three half price candy days of the
I
year.
need to go to Walmart and see if I can find any half price candy because this bitch needs chocolate.
Yeah, got to make sure the chocolate stays there. Skippy's death in Alpha World was one of the most satisfying deaths I've ever seen. I mean, I appreciate that. Skippy was a pain in the ass in that series, which is why we have the continuation of it. Look, I caught up to the pork around and find out question. I am very happy now. I've finally achieved.
Good.
Was doing a sci-fi series more or less challenging than the fantasy or modern time frame? No, because I use a lot of hand wavium. I use a lot of, hey, look, it's nanotech and AI, and I'm totally not going to explain how this works because if I wanted crunchy sci-fi, my girlfriend would write it because she's the science person in the house, not me. And I like subverting tropes, so I like to call Einstein's Legacy sci fantasy because it's hand wavium magic science with fantasy races like elves and kitsune and vampires. So and the slime doctor. Let's not forget the slime doctor. Oh, just wait. If you think that's funny, Andy, wait till you hear how he heals people.
Oh no.
Be afraid.
Oh, okay.
Waiting for a Skippy to die because he ate a peanut. I feel like that wouldn't be quite as satisfying, honestly, unless the hero was like, you know what, dude, I'm really sorry. Let's make up here, and just like gives him like a nougat, not understanding the guy's deathly allergic. That would be funny to me. You killed me. My bad.
Was an accident, bro.
Skippy seems to be dying faster and faster in these books. Next series will start Skippy's body shriveled into a prune-like mass when he touched the gem. The rest of the team didn't even blink, just moved on. I mean, it seems like a fitting death for Skippy to me, honestly.
Wait, is the slime's name Blurp?
Blurp.
You named the slime Blurp, Daniel?
Well, that's actually the small version of the much longer name, Andy.
Yeah, that's what I was fucking thinking. I was thinking there had to be a catch to that. I was like, there's no way you just named the slime Blurp.
It's actually Blurb. It's with a B at the end, not a P, but yeah. Blurb. But his name is normally is much longer. It just he just gets told just Blurb is fine.
Wait, is it Blurb or
Blurb?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
It is with a B. The slime doctor. Are you guys going to any conventions this year? Well, yes, I'm going to Dragon Con this year. I try to go
Mhm.
every year. Andy's actually going to try to make a Dragon Con this year, and
Yep.
that'll be amazing. As far as I know, the Medieval Times event is being worked on currently, so we should have the second annual, because we can say that because we had the inaugural last year, event of watching grown men on horses with half broken sticks run at each other.
Yay.
So I think it's worthwhile.
Absolutely. I'm also going to like APAC and stuff like that, but that's
Which one's
narrator stuff.
what's APAC?
APAC is the American Publishers Association conference thing. It's there's a mixer for podium stuff. So I'm going to the mixer,
Mm.
and part of that is APAC. So it's just in New York, so I'll be driving over there for the weekend basically.
I never thought about the tax benefits from being an author and just being able to say that everything you do is for research. It's not true. It's not everything. It's just some things. like having to know exactly how to crack open a two-shot Derringer. I might or might not have needed research materials to make sure I got that right. Just it's not everything though. That would be ridiculous. It's for research. Totally fine. Don't look at me, Mr. Taxman. Do you think you have a lot of readers in the federal government, or is there some other reason that they might be listening? I mean, it's the federal government. Is there any reason that they wouldn't be listening? Just saying.
Who wouldn't want to listen to this?
I mean,
Are you saying we're not worth it?
60 some odd people find this amusing and
Yeah.
entertaining, so I'm thinking
What
one
are
of
you
them
saying we're
might
not
get
worth the
government
IRS's
approval.
time? What, you be insulting about it?
Meh. She went to war with you, Gan, which is fitting. Just saying. It's my research gun. Leave the research gun alone. Thank whoever wrote that further down than where I am. Thank you. Is there any word on AR7? It will come after Binding Words 10. It will follow Gregory as he goes north to handle his adept posting, which is we find out in book 6 is the northern tip of the empire, where it pushes into the wilds of the north, where there once used to be a Yurtik kingdom all of its own. So we'll probably see Gregory come to loggerheads with individuals who are okay with things like slavery, and I'm sure that'll totally be fine and not cause any problems in any way, shape, or form.
It's gonna go real well.
It's
Real well.
gonna go so well for somebody,
Yeah.
and real bad for a lot of others.
Somebody's gonna eat their own teeth at some point. It's gonna happen.
It's not the teeth; it's more the tip of a naginata, probably.
Yeah.
Have you ever? Hey, even this short amount of time has been great, but I have an appointment. Aw, Chopper. It's okay. We understand. Thanks for coming in for however long you could be here, man. 20 books as audio people, so just talk to them for a minute, and there you go. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
but normally you gotta make sure that it lines up so you can get away with that kind of thing. You can't just slap a research or business tag on something. You gotta be able to sell it later if the government ever comes to you and goes, so we're auditing you and we need to know about these expenses.
Mhm.
Which is why I make sure, like when I go to Dragon Con, I have dinner scheduled with my narrator, with my publishers like Mountaindale, with my moderators, my officers on Discord. I make sure that I have different events throughout the entire con in case the convention itself doesn't give me panels to talk on, which last year was the first time they did that. We're not sure yet about this year. This way, I can defend the expenses if needed, because you have to think ahead with those kinds of things. Uh, was by the way, my name was a created mess with a friend. This is Robert H. It's okay, battle ooh. No one's gonna call you out, ooh. Ooh woo.
Woo woo.
No one's gonna call you out for that name. Don't worry about it. How would people go around about grabbing those shirts? Current. Oh, someone posted the link, but I'll go ahead and say it now for anyone who's coming in late. If you go to shinhofenbooks.com, which is my website, there is a spot there for the shop, so you can go and order them. That is currently it. I know that the person who handles my shop was in the process of trying to line things up with, and I'll just say it, Redbubble, to make print on demand stuff, so not just shirts, like other items as well, with the various art that I have approved. So definitely the Aether Shield, which hang on, camera, Aether Shield. It's hard to get the angle with the camera posted the way it is. The Binding Words logo, my normal logos for each of the series will be up there. But currently, it is the shirts that I had made when I ordered them that were sent out by my sister. Um, but if you want to grab them now before that comes down for Redbubble, please do so. The more of them I get rid of before then, the better. Uh, Currently available. Okay. Andy, what's been one of your favorite characters from Aethers for voice wise? What was one?
Yuki.
What's you like Yuki?
I like Yuki's voice.
The sweet
It was
innocent.
a really
I'm
fun
gonna
voice to do.
I'm gonna cut you, bitch. Stay away from my man
Yeah.
voice.
I like people that sound super sweet, but want to fucking stab you in the face if you wrong them. I enjoy it.
I'm totally a nice person. Shank.
Yeah, I love Yuki's voice. Probably because it's like the diametric opposite to mine. So I just enjoy it as a voice.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I actually really liked her voice from the very first time you did it. So I mean, I can't gainsay that. That was just like
like
because
Thank you.
especially to start with, because she was very shy and reserved in the first book.
Mhm.
Because she really didn't want to be there. She was kind of panicked. She'd been torn away from her father and mother, who she loved to death. And now she knows that she's going to be in a place where people are going to try to kill her all the time. And she's like, okay, I don't want to be here. Luckily, she met Greg on the first day. Since book one, though, she's been coming out of that shell and been much more forward and honestly how what to say domineering in how things should work, especially for other people. There's always another test, apparently.
It's only when you pass my test that you can join the marriage.
Yuki, you have had 17 tests since the start, and no one has ever met all of them. And every time you say it's the last test, there's another 3 tests, Yuki.
I know, because it's when I say it is.
She's just stringing them out now.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, dance for me, monkeys, dance.
Yes, my puppets. Swing on your strings.
Well, I mean, technically, if you go back to book one, he did have that image of her controlling shadow puppets when it was what path she was going to walk. So
Yep.
maybe that had a really good possibility of becoming something.
Yuki is the puppet master.
I haven't seen any BattleTech videos recently. You're still doing that? No, I'm not. I did that with my friends. They were trying to start up a YouTube thing at the time, and we went, well, outside of you guys fixing up cars and doing off-road stuff, we play BattleTech. Why don't we go ahead and why don't we film this and go ahead and put this up on your channel as well? Maybe bring in more people. Those two got into one of their fights because they're basically like brothers. They've known each other forever. And I think they're still making up for that. So we haven't even played a game since the last video that got posted. So yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens.
The life, yo. Ooh, AR Shield polos. I want mugs for all the different books because I have a mug in my booth all the time. So I want mugs for all with all the different logos on them because right now I just use like my
I
Fortnite mug.
I had a very small run of mugs done
Yeah, I heard about
back
it.
with Alpha World, and I think it was Binding Words. And just trying to handle them, especially like with potential breakages and stuff, it just was not worth the hassle.
Yeah,
I was
you got to do them print on demand or they're just not
I
worth it.
well I was gonna use Patreon since I have a Patreon. I was gonna use Patreon's merch shop for a while, but their merch shop was the only way for people to get the merch is they had to be a patron for 3 consecutive months at the tier that you designated for an item, and I had no control over the price point. If it was a mug, the cost of that tier was the cost of the mug, and they had to basically pay that for 3 months before the mug was sent to them. And I'm just like, so basically, it's a 300% cost of what it would take for you to print them and send them, and I can't change that. Which is
That is
why
ridiculous.
which is why I never pulled the trigger on the Patreon merch, because I'm just like, I would rather just have a tier where like whatever the cost is, if they have to be subscribed for 3 years,
Yeah,
I'd rather take that cost and cut it into thirds.
yeah, I agree.
So then they get it at a reasonable price. I'm not looking to make a whole lot of money off of them. Give me $1 or $2 off the fact that the merch went out. Great. I don't need to make what was it, like $34 off of a mug, guys, especially when it's costing them like 51. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's insane for a mug. I love you,
So,
but I don't think I'm paying $51 for a mug.
which is why I hope the Redbubble thing works out. But that my sister's working on it in the background. She has her own job. She just is nice enough to handle like the merch
Awesome.
stuff for me, because it means that I write more. And I think that
true.
everybody would like me to write more. So
Someone's giving me shit for the size of my mug. Hey, that right there is a mini barrel, okay? That's the mini barrel. This is a perfectly normal size mug. It's just a normal.
it's just right up next to her camera, guys.
Yeah, it's just next to the camera. It's a normal size mug.
That's only 36 ounces. It's totally perfectly normal.
It's actually like one of the smallest mugs I have. It just doesn't ring, so it's in here.
Oh, that's a good point, because you have to be careful of things that can make noise on your desk.
Yeah.
That
I have a
makes
lot of mugs that
absolute
make
sense.
noise.
Xerox, I've answered this a few times. It just came down to differences in what was going on with schedule. That is why there was a change in narrator for Apocalypse Gates. It was just things were going on. It's over with. That was 5
years ago?
4 or 5 years ago at this point. So
We talked about
was.
it extensively when it happened too.
Yeah.
But people still think it's like some big mystery, and it's like
it totally is. That was when me and Andy went through our first breakup.
yeah, we didn't talk for years.
She caught me cheating on her with Hayes. It was a whole thing.
Dramatic.
I was just glad she took Hayes back, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I had to. I have to keep him around. I like his beard. I like it better than yours. I'm sorry. It's the thing. I'm just in love with the beard.
It's okay. I understand. He's a dwarf. You have a type. I understand.
I have a dwarf for a husband.
I mean, I've met Hayes.
Yeah, he's a dwarfy individual. He is a dwarf.
I've met Hayes. Stocky, that muscle, that look of I probably don't want to fuck with this guy.
Yeah, he's 5'5", 5'6", and he's very stocky, and he's built like a bullet because he was a martial artist for 30 years, and he's got a big bushy beard, and he's bald.
She might have a type. I'm just saying I might be prepping the field for later.
Hayes is awesome.
What will happen with the elders at the academy? I'm confused, Brevel. Are you talking about the council that was under Lao Zi? He still has the council. He can't get rid of it. That was something instituted by the emperor. One or two, or maybe all of them, might be replaced by a new council, but he can't get rid of the council that's under him.
Didn't it say something about their rotating out? There's some leaders that are being rotated at the academy. Who was it?
There's that
Because
was
of
the
the murders that were happening underneath him, so he was able to use that.
the council is going to be taken to task for the fact that there was so much
Gotcha.
shit that was going on. For leaders revolving out, the Iron Hand is probably going to be rotating out Chen, and Paul Erickson will be picking up the leadership part of the Iron Hand inside the walls of the Academy for the Iron Hand. I like Paul.
I like Paul too.
Paul Erickson, of course, is the name of one of my readers. For those who are interesting, he won one of the red shirt giveaways, the cameo appearances, and he just got slotted into a recurring role, like Serenia, the archivist. That one was more of a chosen spot, though. When she won, I went, I have this spot, and I think you'd approve of it. Which is why we have a Shadow Panther archivist. But I've also had the fans who have redshirted, they meet the main character and then die 30 seconds later. You never know what you're gonna get with me. I felt quasi bad. Like one of the first cameos I did was in Apocalypse Gates, and it's an abuser. So Alvin meets him and kills him, and I'm like, I almost feel kind of bad because I'm using a real person for this part, but you don't get to choose. When you say, yeah, go ahead and use my name, the field is open.
Oh, here this is the thing that I think it has people confused. It's Zoo's rumor. It's when Zoo is talking, it's the rumor that he's talking about. He says, "Oh, haven't you heard? Sage Windfoot has asserted himself again. I hear his council will be dissolved and a new one will be appointed in the coming year." I think that's what people are talking about.
Yeah, that's because they fucked up. There were like a dozen murders that happened in the 2 years Gregory was inside the walls of the Academy.
Yeah.
Who might or might not be able to, the majority of them might be able to be funneled back to a specific clan.
Yeah, maybe.
Which was running amok.
If you follow the
the
trails of literal blood, you might be able to put the pieces together.
So, yeah, they fucked up enough that like he finally got the healing runes put on the arenas, because it's something that should have happened for a long time, but we don't really need to do that, and okay, finally gonna happen because you guys have done fucked up and I actually have to step up and do this job now.
Which the optics of not wanting to put healing runes on the arena of virtual children fighting, the optics on that are not good.
They're adults, Andy. They have the right of age day.
They do, but this is like kids fresh into college. It's like freshman college students, which most of us our age would refer to as kids, not having the ability to heal in the fighting arena wielding deadly magic. The optics on that for the people fighting against that.
It's the weed out the week. What? There's nothing wrong here.
Yeah, you twisted motherfuckers.
Only the weak would think we need healing runes on the arenas. The strong clans will be fine. The strong clans will be fine. They have the healers in their pockets. Their people will make it.
I mean, if they died, they wouldn't be very useful for the Empire anyway. You bunch of cynical bastards. You know that? Cynical bastards.
Do they need to use the same weapon as the Arms Master? As in, did Gregory need to go Naginata versus Naginata? No, because Gin uses a sword, is his preferred weapon. You do not have to. You just have to beat them with their preferred weapon. So in Gin's case, the sword versus Gregory with the Naginata. The fact that Egil and General Ruzi both preferred the Naginata was just one of those things. The fact that those two both liked the same weapon ties back to their time as youngsters coming up in the ranks of the army before Egil went off to the Han clan and General Ruzi kept going up the ranks. If you have a friend who prefers one weapon and you're good with it too, they had basically a tendency to push each other. So, what was your favorite FU moment of any book you've read?
Are you asking me directly, or was that prompted?
That's a question. What's your favorite fuck you moment from any of the books you've read?
Oh, guy, That is such a hard question.
So just give me a good one that you can remember. It doesn't have to be your favorite.
Oh, well, that's easy because it's the first one in my brain right now, which is from book 6, which is Gregory and the slaves. Like Gregory and the douchebag with the guy, that asshole with the slaves who had 8 of them and stuff, and he's giving Gregory 8 kinds of attitude, and Gregory basically goes, "So here's the thing. I'm a fucking magi and you're done." And basically takes all of his slaves, pushes the guy to the ground with just his aether. Guy gets arrested. Like it's a whole thing. He more than arrested eventually because he like swings at Gregory. But that was a great moment. That I love that one.
Yeah, I'm totally getting arrested because I've broken the slave laws, which is gonna hurt. I'm gonna compound that by attacking a magi in the course of his duties. That's
Yeah.
totally not gonna get me killed or anything.
Yeah, exactly. I really like the big mistake. Huge, huge. I love those moments, but I experience them intensely when they happen, and then I just forget about them after that because I've got to worry about the next character thing that's coming up or the next thing. it's, it's just these really neat moments, so I just don't remember them off the top of my head.
That's fair enough. For fuck you moments of just God, this I hate this. I'm glad that this guy got fucked over and stuff. My favorite is still gonna be Nick completely fucking up in the arena in Mages of Boldoon.
Good one.
Just twisted past his breaking point while fighting yet another ear tick blooded shadow mage that he just snaps. And then both sages basically come in and go, "Well, son, you done fucked up, didn't you? We're gonna send you back to your granddad, and then when I finally get back to the academy, we're gonna make sure that the emperor knows just how badly you've done fucked up.
Yeah.
How you could have started a war with the other country that we're currently in the process of trying to make friends with."
Oh, you know what? I do have another one that's another really good one as far it's not from one of your books, but it's another one. It's from TWI. I'm not it's a little spoilery, but it's not like plot point spoilery, so I think it's okay.
Was it the
It's
book that
hard
has
to do this without giving spoilers. Like it's
was
hard to have like
was it the book that's not out yet? Was it the last
yeah,
book
it's
you
in the
recorded?
audio that's not out yet. It's in the book has been out for years, but
Okay,
the
well, your
audio is
choice.
not. Yeah, spoiler warning for book 9 for Tears of Liscor. Plug your ears for the next 30 seconds. There's this moment where the goblins have become like the Red Fang 5 have become adventurers, and it's a big controversial thing. They fight and defend the city. It's a whole thing, and they like go and rescue a bunch of people and stuff and all this kind of thing. They get completely shafted by the government. The government says, we don't have to pay you any gold. We don't have to do anything because I'm sorry, but your adventurer paperwork wasn't actually processed until after all of this happened. So you don't have to get the tens of thousands of gold. So it was this big bad moment. And turns out the goblins just don't really value money. They had plenty of it. They go and get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of gold from beneath the dungeon, basically, dump it all out for the adventurers. The adventurers go and report it. And the Adventurers Guild basically says, well, you have to pay us some of this. And all of the adventurers look at them and go, no, we don't. And they said, why? And they said, because it was found by the goblins, which you were very clear were not adventurers. So guess we don't owe you anything, do we? And they just walk off. It was a beautiful fuck you moment of just, yeah. So how did that delaying the paperwork go for you? So anyway, all right. Fair warning, we're done now.
You fucked us over, so we're gonna return that favor.
It was a really good one. It was a really good fuck you moment. It was good.
That's the kind of karmic justice that is just satisfying.
Yeah.
I love D&D stats explained by tomatoes. That one will always tomatoes to explain D&D stats will always make me laugh. So, old meme guys, D&D stats explained by tomatoes. Strength is what you use to crush a tomato. Dexterity is what you use to dodge a tomato. Constitution is what you use to eat a bad tomato. Intelligence is knowing that tomato is a fruit, not a vegetable. Wisdom is knowing that even though it is a fruit, you do not put it in a fruit salad. A fruit salad based on tomato would be salsa, would be charisma, because you're selling something that is just completely wrong. So D&D Stats Explains by Tomatoes will always make me laugh. Every time I see that meme, I'm like, yeah.
That's good. I like that.
We found the bard. Why? He's selling tomato fruit salads. Where did the Asian flair for Aethers come from? It's a cultivation style book. 90% of cultivation books are Eastern centric because of the whole idea of meditation and improving yourself. It's a thing. So I took what I do is I want kind of a Magic Academy book to start with, and I want kind of cultivation book, and I'm just going to slap these two together and get Aether's Revival because I like doing that. It's just I take great joy in taking two things and putting them together to make something else. So, Sean in Binding Words also used a Naginata, at least for a while. He did. It was a matter of he wanted something with reach because they were traveling through the wilds, and he wasn't exactly skilled with weapons at the time. So, a pointy thing on the end of a stick. Good idea. And as soon as he got to cities, he ended up with Dark Cutter in the form of a sword because that was way more socially acceptable than to walk around with a giant, 6-foot long metal spike.
Tends to intimidate people.
Andy, if you ever fly out to 20 Books, will you do an open meet with Shinhofen so all your fans can drive up to meet you?
That is not as popular as people think it is. As far as like meeting me, that's not really.
I think you draw more people than I would. I think I would be sad because like it would be that thing where like you'd have a table and I'd have a table and you'd have a line of like 20 people and I'd have like my mom show up. It's okay, honey. You're doing good. Don't worry about it.
That's kind of like, I feel like it'd be like there'd be really supportive people online, but the reality is we're all pretty insular and we all kind of like to stay home for the most part. So it's very rare to get us out to meet people. So if I go to those things, typically it'll be like one person knows who I am, and it's like, oh, cool, hey. I don't do like meet and greets because I just don't need that ego hit of no one showing up.
I don't need to be reminded. Nobody wants to talk to me.
Yeah, I'm good.
Stop shattering my already insecure nature into even more insecure nature.
I'm comfortable in my fishbowl here. Thank you. I don't need the real world to shatter it.
Are we ever going to see a patron god of chaos in a series? I mean, the only series where like a patron god of chaos has really ever been mentioned has been Binding Words, and that's because people are wondering how much of a hand Loki has had in things, because we know that Loki was the reason that the Einherjar and Helga were able to go from their planes to the world of Binding Words, because the backroom deals were used and whatnot. And he did that specifically to get 20 Einherjar and a Valkyrie away from his brother, because why not make him look like a fool when you're, prepping for Ragnarok? Makes sense to me. Will he actually ever show up in the series? I don't know. Probably not. I don't plan for Loki and Sean to be friends. Even as much as nicely as Helga talks about Loki, I have a feeling that their ideas of things might not match up exactly.
I feel you might be right on that.
I mean, outside of Thor being a dick, I'm pretty sure that they would jive fine on that wavelength.
Yeah, Thor is and was a dick in all mythology. I like the fact that he was fairly represented as the asshole that he is in mythology and in lore.
Well, people like to take old lore? Gods and make them look better nowadays. And if you go back and you look at a lot of the old myths, Greek, especially Greek,
yeah,
gods
Greek and Roman gods are a mess.
Not nice people, guys.
No.
So I mean, it's the same across the board, though. Thor would not have been a, hey, dude, let's hang out and have a beer. That's not who the god of thunder would be.
Mm-mm.
as opposed to what Marvel keeps wanting to tell us that he is.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Have you ever considered having a melee fighter use a cestus? I mean, yeah, for the right person, it would make sense. But am I going to be like, oh, I'm totally putting in a melee fighter just so I can have him use this bladed gauntlet type thing? Not so much. There's also a huge difference between single combat and small squad tactics and large crowd control. There is, Gel. But there's not going to be any arms masters up at the north end of the continent where Gregory is going. So he's not going to have somebody who's ultimately skilled to push him in the same vein. I mean, he has been honestly, let's be honest, he has been spoiled. He had an arms master as his weapon instructor for years. For basically 2.5 years, he had an arms master teaching him how to fight. The coins are not in the store, Wolf. The coins are just giveaways. I'll give them away at the end of this, and I give them away during my other giveaways. But that's about it. So, Andy, I'm gonna segue for a question of my own. You've gone through all the way through book 6 of Aethers at the moment. So, some of your bloopers have achieved legendary status. Shitting in eggs is one of them.
Yes, the shit eggs from Elsa.
I still like Yuki telling Jen to step off her man bitch. But I want to call back to one of your earlier bloopers, which is, and Gregory found out he wasn't a magi. That's it. That's the end of the story.
And the story's over with.
And the story's over with. The book ends. Gregory found out he wasn't special after all. How much through the 6 books of Aethers though? What have been some of the moments that have surprised you and with what's been going on?
Clarify when, as in Gregory's development as a person, or the actions of the people taken around him?
Any of it. What have been some moments that when you've read it, you've been like, oh, okay, I didn't expect this.
Oh, that happens all the time for me, but that's mostly because when I'm prepping, I live so much in the moment. I'm like a puppy dog. I live very much in the moment. So I don't see things coming a lot of times. I just kind of like I experience it when it happens. So Gregory being a reborn soul, I figured he was somebody. Like I figured when I was reading the first book, I was like, I know he's someone important, but I don't know who he is. And then when it came to the end, like everything started building up to it. And I'm like, I think maybe he has something to do with like big magic. Something's up. And then when it was revealed who he was, I was like, oh, he's like the god of magic. That's cool. And then I expected his magic to be like control over magic somehow. So when his magic ended up being foresight, I thought that was really cool because I wasn't expecting his magic to actually be like foresight. Because the hints that were happening with like some of the things like his being able to see the strings and stuff like that, I thought that was going to go in like the direction of he can manipulate other people's magic or something, because I was like, well, he is Aether, so that makes sense. But I don't know. There's moments like that where it just takes a turn that I didn't think it was going to, but it's better than what I thought it was going to be.
Well, to be fair, that is his magic. The foresight is the magic he got from his mom, not from the fact that he's Aether Reborn. The fact that he's Aether Reborn does actually touch on the fact that he can touch raw Aether itself.
I figured he could see it and he could do something with it because of his ability with the Shadow Ring, but it hadn't been blatantly said that he could do. So I never make the assumption because things change and I read things wrong. So
it's a matter of growing into his magic.
Oh, that makes sense.
Is what it is. I have gotten flack from some readers because, oh my god, he should already be fighting the Emperor, and I'm just like, yep, totally as an apprentice, he should totally be like toe to toe with the Emperor right now.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm not the only person.
Yep, you are not the only person. Please just never have a character use a flail. Historians now agree that is legend. The flail was never used as a serious weapon. It was only used by farmers in desperation. Well, to be fair, there are a lot of weapons that were first used by farmers in desperation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, having somebody use something like a flail, or the war scythe. I mean, makes sense that the background of the character is a farmer, but outside of that, mm, I just can't see a school of weapons being like, and today we're learning the war scythe.
Why not? That'd be awesome. I want a scythe and
So
war.
instead of something we might get more use out of, like spears or something,
Yeah, no.
war scythe.
No, we're using this thing that you very specifically can only swing a certain way to cut something. That's what we're using.
Yeah,
Can you stab with it? No. Chump
Tec-
stab.
technically yes, but no. Also,
Hey, there's a reason the Grim Reaper wields it. It's the most badass of weapons, okay? Who cares if it's limited?
you're gonna die if I hit you with it. See,
Exactly.
totally worth it.
Yeah, they are. They're visually impressive. They're great. Oh, what's the game where you can play with a scythe? Is it BDO? I think it's BDO you play with a scythe. I think in Black Desert, the Necro or something allows you to play with a scythe. It's got great fucking graphics to it. It's got great animations. Super fun. Anyway,
Greg
sorry.
the
Try to
Grim
sidetrack.
Reaper. I mean, how are the AL sales going? AL has been good. It's not reached its 30-day window yet, but yeah, AL did not Resurrection Quest me, so I am fine committing to more books in Antecedents Legacy. I didn't expect I didn't have the book come out and go, no.
No.
That was Resurrection Quest, but like I always say, at this point, the plus side of that is the fact that Resurrection Quest bombing like it did is why we have Aether's Revival, so I'm not going to complain too much.
Yeah.
I just want to hear Andy sing about building snowmen and letting things go. And get sued to the ever-loving fucking back.
Technically, if that book ever releases, you will get to hear me sing about letting it go. Because apparently that got approved. It's not that's the problem. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
They got approval from the mouse?
Yeah, they've talked about who it is that's like, I'm not gonna go into it here, but they've talked about it openly. It's not a secret thing. So they're being held up by something. Basically, they just can't contact the person. They can't get a response from them is the problem. It's not that someone's refusing it, it's that they can't get them. So problem with indie songs, yo.
Wow, I'm surprised. Approval by the mouse. I know
Oh, yeah.
I know that they're normally freaking hell and back on defending things.
Yep.
Nice.
I don't think the Snowman song's in there. I don't think. It might be. Am I wrong, Shank? Is the Snowman song in there? I don't think it is. Might be. I don't know. It's been a year. 2 weeks ago and my brain etches sketches, so.
Ray Bradbury reading Ray Bradbury is painful. Authors should not read their own books. I mean, outside of maybe Travis. Outside of Travis, but let's not talk about the Renaissance man, okay? I mean,
Travis.
He's just too good at too many things. He makes the rest of us look bad.
Travis is a god among men. He's the one who's like fixing my audio and everything too. Travis is one of those people where he is one of my very good narrator friends because he is incredible. He is talented. He is a writer. He's a game designer. He is a narrator that is incredibly talented and skilled. And I am like everybody else where there's moments where I'm like, just be fucking bad at something. And he's also like the nicest guy.
Can you fail at one thing so I feel better about me?
Can you be bad at something, please? I can't say anything though. He's like he's one of the nicest guys ever. Like he's helping me with our sound setup and stuff here. Like Travis is awesome. But he is infuriatingly good at so many things.
I mean, really, made games that sold really well, professional narrator that has done books that have hit #1 in Audible. And oh, by the way, I recently wrote a book that sold well and got picked up on a book deal by Barnes and Noble Tor.
Tor picked him up.
Yeah, Travis. Really happy for you, dude. It's fucking amazing. You just stop being amazing just for a fucking minute. That'd be great.
Yeah, Travis is the level 100 character who just bought all the skills and maxed them out. No, I will say Travis has fought for every skill he has. I will never, ever, ever diminish Travis's earned skill here. He really has put in the work. He never sleeps. He didn't pay to win.
No, he
just
didn't pay to
really
win, but
fucking good.
he wins at everything. So
He's just really good. Yeah.
will Darok and Misa ever show up on Sean's afterlife plane?
Oh,
I
yeah, I
mean,
was actually curious about that too.
if it happens, we'll find out. If it doesn't happen, we'll find out. I mean,
I don't know either.
as I like to say, I'm an after action reporter. I just tell you what my characters do. There's a reason why I have 11 women pining over Sean currently. Because the character went, well, I'm afraid of losing family and friends anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and offer them life bonds. And I went, cool. Sean offers them life bonds, totally fine. And then the next book, you didn't think this through, did you? Because Sean's not the kind of guy who can be like, yeah, you're life bonded. I really think you're a great person, but I have no interest in you whatsoever. It's never going to be anything. No, he cares about them, and since he cares about them, eventually that's going to slowly evolve the bond. Fuck.
Yeah, there is almost an entire chapter dedicated to the fact that he will absolutely develop feelings over time when they're talking to Mina about it, when Mina life bonds. So when all of the staff life bonded, I'm like, ooh.
You didn't think this through, did you, son?
There's so many. There are so many. I find great joy in it. I think it's funny.
Which is why when I have fans go, don't you think the harem's a little large in Binding Words? I go, kind of is. Might be kind of chunky in size. Totally wasn't planned.
It was an accident.
It's that asshole's fault, not mine.
I didn't mean to.
Blame Sean, fucker.
It's Sean's fault. Solidly.
I totally have a problem with multiple women. You can all life bond me.
Sean! It's like what is it? Rain. I think the game is named Rain, where it has the Sean glitch. I see that every time there's a problem. I just hear Sean. Gatekeeper for Sean. Agreed.
Is it Heavy Rain?
Heavy Rain? Thank you. Yeah, Heavy Rain with the Sean glitch. It's one of my favorites.
Considering we're going to end up seeing a lot of aliens in Antecedent's Legacy, are you going to use a name generator? I mean, I could, but why would I? When I can do something like give her Zlif, which has no vowels.
Yeah. Why bother with name generators when you can just make a normal name and then fuck all the vowels? Just get rid of it.
Or this other name where I take all the consonants out except one.
Yeah, also that one. What's his name? Wow.
But you got to get it. It's more in the back of the throat.
Yeah, it's more glottal. Gotta get a trill in there. Press face to keyboard.
It's in the back of the throat, so you gotta bring that out. But remember, the character has a really high pitched voice at the same time. So good luck.
Wow. I mean, it does sound like a dying alien, so it works out, I suppose.
Do you ever think you'll get a slice of life fantasy like Varnell's American Kitsune? I mean, all my books are slice of life.
Yeah, all of yours are slice of life, pretty solidly.
I get complaints because the story is going too slow. Because I follow people from normally day-to-day stuff. Everything I've written has been slice of life. So
I'm not.
Unless you're talking about just like modern day like a modern day setting for slice of life. I don't know. I've had thoughts about different modern type takes of stories I could do. I have so many ideas. So little time. This is why I limit myself to 4 books in a rotation, guys. Because otherwise you would only get 1 book per series per year. I know a lot of people are going to be upset because 2023 only has 1 AR in it, just because it was the last book of 2022. And the way things are going to follow, there's only going to be 1 book in 23, but there were 2 books in 22, and there'll be 2 books in 24 for Aethers. So, would you like it if I gave you more ideas out of my head, but you only got 1 book of every series every year? Because that's what I try to stop. Some days it's really hard though. I mean, Antecedents Legacy came around because I gave up all my free time of gaming and stuff to write the book because the voice in the head was just so loud. It's like, dude. Okay, fine. I'll write a chapter, okay? Leave me alone. Oh, thank God I got that done yesterday. Hey, you thought I was done. Fucker.
I'm so glad I got that out of my system. Not.
No, you didn't. So yeah. That's a lot of fun when the voices in your head are just so loud that you can't not put something else down. So that's been a thing. Of course, that did get me out ahead of things. That's why Antecedents Legacy came out like it did, because I'd already had it written, because I wrote it over 3 months in all of my spare time.
I remember you talking about it. You were like, I'm writing this weird one in the background. I'm writing this mech one in the background.
Would you be okay with that? And she's like, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Totally won't be a thing. And now I tell her about the names and stuff, and she's like, why did I agree?
Bitch. It's already sci-fi and aliens and shit. Now there's weird names. Oh, well, that's all right. I gotta grow somehow.
So when are you going to beat DJ with a tome of his own words? My editors do, Frank. Don't worry about it. They got her covered.
Yep. I'm good friends with Sam, with Sammy and Jen. They got my back.
If I upset them, if I upset her, they'll know. And if they know, I'll hear about it. So
they're the ones who fought for the lack of unisons. That and Serenia. The reduction in unison voices was due to Serenia and the editors.
That and the names, Ryan and Ryan.
Yeah, and the names, Ryan and Ryan. The reduction in the repeating names has come from them. Although we do have Jason and Jason.
I'm totally going to write a scene where Jason and Jason talk to each other. And then Jason will die because Jason will kill him. And you can figure out which way that's going.
You know what? When everyone's confused, you have yourself to blame.
When everyone's confused, I get to laugh maniacally. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a reality. Daniel's just like, devil may care. Deal with it. It'll be fine. I'm like, but what if people don't understand? And I sit there for 45 minutes obsessing over the word.
That's why I look at it and go, they can pick it up from context. It'll be fine.
Yeah, Daniel will be in the chat just going, it's good. You can just go on. It's fine. It'll be fine. He doesn't do that anymore because he knows it's pointless.
And the meth fields have showed up. Meth cats are now on the tree.
I was gonna say, did I see a cat?
Yes, there's a meth cat, and then there's a meth cat in the box. If you've never seen them, Andy, the meth Garfields are a thing of terror.
What is that?
Hang on. I don't want to touch it. No.
What?
Keep the cursed Garfield away from me.
What is that?
You can find it on Amazon. Read the reviews. They're hilarious.
Great. Now I'm going to have to own that just in the hopes that River might hump it.
My girlfriend's got one because they found the reviews and thought it was hilarious. And then friends. We'll call them friends, shall we? Mailed me the other one.
That's pretty good.
My girlfriend bought the first one just so she could add to the funny reviews about Methfield back there.
Oh,
so
that's good.
The meth cat goes on. Wow. So yes, they've made their appearance. People were probably wondering, are there any bets on how many slaves Greg will end up with in book 7? I mean, he's only going to the 2 towns that are on the north end of the empire where like slavery is a thriving business. Like I said, there's probably going to be some shit in the next book. That's it's got the next book is probably gonna be something. I'm totally against slavery and how Yrtik are treated. Where are you putting him? up where slavery is just a known commodity and it's okay. In fact, people have licenses to go into the wilds and bring your tick back.
It's not going to be a problem at all.
Lousy, when you set out to like show that you weren't playing favorites, how much did you hate Gregory, like in the background? I mean, because there had to be like a little resentment or something in the old man's heart at that point.
Right?
I'm gonna put him up in Cold Creek. Deal with that, punk. One of my family died protecting you, you little. Yeah, I mean, just wow, just wow. It's just one of those things where I look at it sometimes and I'm just like, well, this is a thing. This is that book will be so much. I'm sure there won't be any horrible things that happen in that book to scar people mentally.
Yeah, the whole like, well, I mean, it was more just like we just spent time with the harem this time and they were just growing and stuff. Yeah, don't worry. Gregory's about to go to battle with like 900 slavers in the next book, so
Oh, I got the complaints because there wasn't enough harem time in 6, and I'm like, well, yeah, he had to train with his men. He can't just fuck off and hang out with his wives and
Yeah.
wives to be all the time. He's got a job to do.
Yeah.
Which is why next book is going to be even rougher because he won't have the segues to the city to see them every couple of months. It's a year of 3 dreams. He's going to get 3 short dreams, and that's it. So, yeah. However, there's going to be a lot of other shit going on.
Yeah. Gregory has a few things going on right now.
So much shit. I'm looking forward to getting to the next AR book just because I know it's going to be a clusterfuck of badness, and that will be entertaining in a whole different way. Do you ever use those voices when you and your partner argue?
No. I get asked that a lot. I very rarely break out voices like that at home when I'm like talking to Hayes or anything. I will typically only do it if I'm like making dinner. I talk to myself like Julia Child when I'm making dinner and stuff. Like I just talk to myself in weird voices, but that's it. I never really use them with Hayes unless we're like fucking around with the animals or something like that.
Have you ever fucked with people in the drive-through using voices?
No, I haven't. I'm really boring with it. I never do that stuff. I'm super awkward socially. So the idea of doing that is like paralyzingly like I'm like, no, but I'd be embarrassed. Like I can't.
I totally want to see you do that just once, but with Poppy's voice.
Yeah, I'll have a double quarter pounder with fucking cheese.
Just sprinkling cursing in for no reason.
Poppy is still
And some
still
chicken nuggets.
the character and the voice are still things that I absolutely love from Dominion of Blades.
I love Popper so much.
Andy, what is the next in the saga for the Posey Lord?
Oh, Guy, I have no idea. That just pops up over time.
Yeah, I don't have to wait.
We can't reveal Posey's future.
I have to wait to see what Posey does in the future. I mean, Yuki reminds me of Gothy, just a lot less direct. Yuki's great at planning. Gothy was more a spur of the moment kind of girl. So if the Red Bubble thing becomes a thing, can I get AR shield polos? Probably. I know the art basically they get told yes you can use this art for people who want to order things, and it's like their full catalog of stuff. So I'm gonna say probably. Mugs, jackets, hoodies, keychains. I think stickers, the little bubble pop-ups on the back of phones. I think they do all that stuff, so you should be able to get it for like everything. And it doesn't mean that I have to keep an inventory of stuff and make sure that it gets sent out, which is why I was really doing it. Because my parents' shed currently has a lot of boxes in it with t-shirts. So, yeah.
Is that where they all are? They all live there? Just so we know where to rob to get all the t-shirts.
Hey, I mean, it's not like I'm asking a lot for them. It's basically enough to cover shipping and a little bit more to pay for someone's time. It's not like I'm like $40 for a t-shirt, So
Absolutely.
So I have asked if I could have a table. I should say I put my name in for a table at Dragon Con in the vendor hall. So if they approve me, I might have shirts at Dragon Con.
Ooh.
So maybe we will have to see. I have to wait till May to find out from Dragon Con if I can have a table in the vendor hall or not. Are you gonna make money on that? No, I will lose money on that, but it's okay. The shirts will go. Ooh, an AR blanket duvet cover from Redbubble. I mean, if they do it, I don't know what everything Redbubble covers, so
I collect blankets, so I would own if they did that. If Redbubble offered blankets, I would have a blanket of every style. 'Cause I collect blankets like nothing else. Living in Maine, yo.
Andy, if had become any of the characters from Aethers, who would it be? I'm assuming they're asking if you ended up as any character from Aethers, who would you be?
Mm, as far as like electively, probably Jen. I've been like a big tall person my entire life, so the idea of somebody who's like compact and strong is very appealing to me. I play like pocket tanks in video games and stuff a lot. I almost always play small characters in video games because I've been a big person my entire life. I'm like almost 5'10", so
If we're going off of personality, I'm gonna say she's Dia.
I love Dia. The most similar to me as far as like habits and attitude is probably more Dia, but yeah.
Just relaxed, laid back. She's just there, and if she has to, she'll go to war for you.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And Andy would end up as Dia. I'm fairly certain. I don't think Andy would mind being a panda.
No, I'd like being a panda. I'd be so soft and fuzzy.
Maybe
People are in support of Dia.
what about a maybe what if short story series? What if Greg had joined the Eternal Flame? What if Stern had been a dog guy? I mean, yeah, I mean those are great thought processes, but it's not something I'd put time into. It's
Yeah.
like I did the one short story collection because I had a tier on Patreon back when I like first started on Patreon, so years ago. Which was a short story. I'd write a short story based on one character from a series if somebody picked that, and they did. So I ended up with a collection of short stories from Alpha World, which was my series at the time. NPC Lives. The collection is on Amazon now. But anytime I spend writing during my writing time, that isn't the next book in the series means the next book takes longer to get out, which is why it was my free time that Antecedent's Legacy ended up being written in, and not normal like Aether's writing time. So the short stories or what if stuff is just something I probably wouldn't get to because it means giving up my precious little free time.
The
And
more of
I
that
like
you
my
give up,
free
the
time.
closer you get to burnout. That's not a good idea. It's one thing when you're like inspiration hits,
Yeah.
but forcing
When
it's
some
not a good idea.
when something like Binding Words, the first book of Binding Words was basically the same way. Oh, this is a great idea. I want to write it. Antecedent's Legacy was, oh man, this idea won't leave me alone. I'm going to write it. But I don't want to try to write something just because I think it would be funny. If the idea hits me and it runs off with itself, great. But I wouldn't go out of my way for it. I always wanted Apocalypse Gates to go international. The reason Alvin got juiced was talked about in the last book, Big Trucker. Basically, he was one of those guys who he was one of the brains that got put up for another company to grab a hold of and use. The reason for the idea behind why we were trying to digitize brains and whatnot was talked about in the last book of last book of Apocalypse Gates. So
Aether's hidden lore.
Aether's hidden lore, just so nobody knew.
Oh, real quick, just because somebody asked, and it's probably not going to get flagged because it's a weird ass question that I think only this person and I may know what it means. No, that is not Nisox from Scanty and Nisox. That's that is a way nerdier figure. That is the bard from the Twisted Taverns Kickstarter. My husband and I are
Oh,
gigantic role-playing nerds, and that was the Twisted Taverns Kickstarter. That's her. That's the bard from the advertisement.
I backed that Kickstarter, but I didn't back at the tier for the plush.
Yeah, Hayes got the plush for me, so it sits in my background.
Yeah, that was a while ago too. That Kickstarter.
Yeah, it was. The Avatar one just finally came in the mail. The Avatar: The Last Airbender Kickstarter finally funded and came in the mail. That was cool.
Are you gonna pull a Sibelius and write something nasty to see if Andy will read it out loud? I mean, no, Frank. That's just not who I am. I mean, there might come a point where I've written something that Andy goes, "Oh, I can't read this," but I wouldn't go out of my way to try to write something just to watch her stumble over it when she gets to it. Except names. I mean, yeah, my editor had a good point.
Yeah, that
names is fair game.
Yeah, that works.
The transition between Andy and Tess was actually pretty smooth. Well, it sucked that Andy didn't finish the series. Tess did a great job. I was very happy that Tess agreed to step into that role.
Tess is phenomenal.
So that and I'd heard some of her other works, and I knew that she can handle the adult side of Apocalypse Gates. So when she was like, "Yeah, I could take that on," I went, "Thank you," because honestly, I find that I would find that hard to shop around to some narrators. So I want you to do this book, but there's some really kinky BDSM stuff that's in it. So
It's a hard bit. Yeah.
I love the
It's
name
real
of the elder, Lao Zi. Was that intentional? Lao Zi is an homage to Pratchett, who had Lao Zi the sweeper in his Discworld series. When I realized what I was going to have the elder of the academy doing, and that fact that he was just, being incognito while taking care of stuff, and he was going to be sweeping things, and I'm like, well, I need a name for him, and I was like, well, I already know the name for this. Yeah, so it's a nod to an author whose stuff I really really loved, because why not?
Sir Terry Pratchett. Yeah.
He will be missed. That was sad day. My cameo was short, but he was a badass. Fair enough, Gen. I mean, you had the cameo in Dungeon Walkers. We'll scroll down. My little brother, you're a much bigger fan. He actually reads your books, says keep up the good work, and he loves your mech book. Yes, that is John that introduced me to your work. Fair enough. I appreciate him spreading the love around. That's one of the great ways you can support indie authors is actually giving the book to someone else to read. Get them hooked. The first dose is free. Am I not supposed to say that out loud?
No, I agree completely.
I've caught up to the spoiler warnings. So, Andy, how do you avoid reusing a voice with new material?
I don't. If I use the same voice, I use the same voice. I try to avoid using them in the same series or that kind of thing. But like legitimately, some of the series I work on, specifically like with Daniel's series, I mean, we're looking at just repeating characters. There are 200 to 300 of them, which is an obscene amount compared to a lot of series. So,
hey, I'm not the Wandering Inn, okay?
Yeah, Wandering Inn has 600 at this point. So the idea of me not using or not reusing voices, it's not going to happen. They're different characters, so they will come across differently, even though two people may be Pisces may have he may sound like this. Whereas that may be a butler in some other book. It's technically the same voice, but it's a very different character. So trying to just make sure they sound different character-wise is more the strength there. Using a voice multiple times, I'm not as worried about. I have a limited set of equipment. I will do everything I can to make that character sound different using something other than just their vocal tone or accent, though.
Do you think AR Book 7 will do all of Greg's 4th year on the trip to Kraga? We will find out when I write it, Rain. That's my answer to normally of will we see is we will find out when I get there, because once again, after action reporter, not a plotter of, hey, we're totally doing these things. I don't try to shoehorn in things because that just don't work. Is a cookbook coming together? My editors say eventually. They will eventually try to put together all the many recipes. It could be 10 to 20 years on my editor says, but eventually. Requires us. Oh, say that. Someone answered. I bet DJ can't brag about a friend flying 3,000 miles like you can, Andy. Your home was lovely. Andy can brag about that. I flew out. I went out and visited Andy. She lives across the country from me.
Yep.
Is it? One of my editors traveled 3,000 miles to move in with me. Does that count?
I agree. I think it works.
And to be honest, my other girlfriend traveled out there to pick her up and bring her back. So
Nice.
if you're gonna do it right.
There you go. Yeah, Hayes and I have enacted that we're going to start taking more. Hayes and I road trip very well together. So Hayes looked at me the other day and went, you know what? I think we need to make it a point like every 3-4 months to just go somewhere. We live in New England, so everything is right here. We could go any number of places. We need to make it a point to just like drive places because road trips are kind of fun. I think that's awesome. So I don't know. Road trips are a good time. So I fully support Skitty and Jen's exercise there. If I hit that one more time.
Jen actually loves driving. She used to drive truck. She used to truck. So she doesn't mind driving. I don't like driving. So if we ever go any place other than like Vegas, she drives because I ain't doing that. Well, even
I don't mind it.
depends on
I
what's
just
going
turn
on,
off.
yeah. So I don't want to drive places. But she loves road trips. Like when we go up to Colorado soonish, she'll be driving. So she is good with road trip. I not so much, but I would much rather jump on a plane and get somewhere in a handful of hours than 3 days of road.
Driving is one of those things where it's like everybody has their weird thing that they do. I can drive indefinitely. That's my thing. Like I can drive it indefinitely for the amount of time that is needed. I've driven 54 hours straight. I've driven 19 hours straight. I've driven all kinds of stuff. I will drive as long as needed.
So I'm actually going to take this question and flip it to Andy first. They're asking. They've never read any of my books. They're asking, which of my books was my favorite that I've written so far. I'm going to say Andy, since they came over from your server. Which of my series would you point them at to read first?
Probably Aethers, just because it's got like it's cultivation. I don't know, there's a really cute, like, sweet thing between Greg and Yuki at the beginning, and then it slowly introduces Jen, and I don't know, there's a lot going on. But I also really, really like Luck's voice and Binding Words, so it just kind of depends on what their background is. That's Croc. So
Yeah.
Croc would be probably Binding Words or Aethers. I know where they're from, so I don't think Luck's voice would hit the same for them. So I don't think it would have the same impact for them. I don't know if they'd be into like Weird West. So, but definitely one of the two. Binding Words, the lore may be more interesting for you, Croc, because there's a lot of like European lore to that's a lot of fun. And Binding Words has a really cool like magic system with the shaping and stuff. I just really like it. So
anytime anybody asks me what's the favorite book you've ever written, and I tell them that's like picking favorite child.
Yeah, I don't have a favorite.
Yeah, it's just not something I can do. I have loved everything I've ever written. Even Resurrection Quest, may it rest in peace. I still loved. it really, when someone asks me that, I ask them, what would you prefer? Currently I have a Weird West series. I have a Celtic lore series. I have a cultivation series. I just started a sci-fi fantasy series. And then I have like I have an MMORPG, and I have a Stuck in a Death Game series. I have a lot of different things depending on what tickles your fancy. So it really comes down to what would you prefer. Ren would tell you Binding Words. So since Ren is here, I can call her out.
Fair.
Are you going to break the fourth wall and have a character argue with the narrator? I mean, it would have to be a specific book. Alvin routinely made fun of the quote unquote real world for him since he was stuck in a death game. Like literally have one of my characters turn and be like, "Andy, stop fucking up my voice." Probably not. That would be more of a parody or tongue in cheek kind of moment. So I probably wouldn't have that in any of my books because I try to keep my books at least quasi serious. There's something going on. It's not very Deadpool, and I know I'm a comic book character and get away with things. To me, that is hard parody, and if I want hard parody, I actually go read Fudge. So
Yeah, Scotty.
I love Scotty. I love what Scotty does. He dealt with people having stole his stories off of Royal Road and tried to publish them behind his back. So he's currently in the process of trying to get his entire back catalog secured.
Poor Scotty.
And that's the reason we're not having newer stuff put up currently from Fudge, is because he has to go back and secure the decade plus material that had been out there for him. Because people are assholes.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that everybody came to see you, not me dynamic at a con in Little Rock many years ago at a book signing. The line for Larry Niven was incredibly long, an hour's wait at the very least, and a new author was at the other table in the same room, and there was nobody in line for her. So I went over and bought her book and had her sign it, and that's how I discovered Melissa Scott. Sometimes you got to take those risks. That's one of those reasons why I don't want to do those kind of things, because I'm just gonna be like, nobody's here for me. Okay. Though at the Medieval Times thing last year at Dragon Con, I did get to meet oh, hang on, I just blanked. The creator of Munchkin. Jackson, Steve Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
He showed up at Steve Jackson showed up at that because he was with his author friend who dragged him over to it. And so I got to meet Steve Jackson, and I handed him a Binding Words pen, and that was really neat because the man is, Steve fucking Jackson.
Yeah, I would have lost my mind. I'm a huge fan of Steve Jackson games. We have 97 of them, so that would have been a big thing.
So yeah, that was a moment. He walks up with his friend. His friend was there first, and I'm like, I tell him about Binding Words and whatnot. And he's like, yeah, I'm here with my friend, and Steve Jackson walks up, and I look at him and go, ha.
Yeah,
I know who he is. I've seen him in different places.
He does interviews and shit.
I've seen him on table. I was there I saw the tabletop episode with him too. I knew he was on site, so it was like he's like, yeah, and he had I think he was wearing a name tag that said Jackson or something, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I know exactly who you are.
would you like a pen, sir? Here, have a card so you can find my books. It'd be really neat if you would read them.
Just picture Daniel just, can you sign my boob? Maybe this is awesome.
I had just a little more self-control than that. Not by much.
How could you?
But
you missed an opportunity. You could have had Steve Jackson sign your boob, and you didn't. What's wrong with you?
I feel very bad now that you pointed out. So
Sammy's blowing up your spot, and it's adorable.
Well, I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, there are very few people out there who would show up that I'd probably have been more starstruck over. Ryan Reynolds, I wouldn't have been able to form words. Okay, I would have just been like,
yeah, Matt Mercer, Brennan Lee Mulligan, any of the cast of Critical Role would have lost my fucking mind. Travis Willingham, any of them.
You laughing at my face? Oh gods. DJ signed my ass. True. To be fair, she did come in. She did cosplay a couple of my characters. I felt it was very worth the signing. She came as Mina and she came as Fiala, and I was very happy to have the cat cosplay the cats.
Nice.
I want to know who's going to train Greg and those other magics. Well, that's a good question. We'll find out when we get there. Who says somebody has to train him though? Like I said, if his magic is just the rawness of Aether, maybe it's just a fact of him slowly growing back into what he was. It's not so much training, because it's not like he trained shadow magic before he was able to pull off using the ring. So, Andy, what did you think when Lousy ended up being the sage and head of the academy?
Oh, yeah, that one I did see. For once, I actually saw something, but that's because I've played in an RPG game with Daniel before. I played in a tabletop RPG with Daniel before, and there was a sweeper in it who was in charge of everything. So as soon as I saw the sweeper, I'm like, yep, that guy's in charge of shit. I see it. I fucking see it. Yeah, so I knew. that one I spotted for once.
Well, you can't pull them all over on Andy, no matter how hard you try.
It's pretty easy most of the time, honestly. I just like experiencing things. It's fun.
Ren says, I'm personally looking forward to getting a character that wields a sword where the blade is longer than they are. So you're just talking about a Cloudbuster then, Ron, right? Where you have to drag the sword behind you because you get basically like one sweep at it at a time, and the sword spins you around when you swing, because that's what would happen. I mean, because a sword that long is going to weigh a lot. Especially a Cloudbuster. The thing was like as light as he was as well, so.
I think even the ones that they've had made with aluminum, because I've seen a couple people make the Buster Sword, and even the ones made with aluminum, like as light as they could possibly make it, the thing still weighs like 20 pounds, which is obscene for a sword. Like that, your sword should never weigh 20 pounds. So yeah, it's still super heavy.
I caught up to the point where Sammy said I was an hour behind people. All right, so I'm gonna finish the. We're gonna catch the starred questions at this point, because my narrator. You guys have so much in common. Sometimes I get confused. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's a great comparison. I'll take it any day.
Love you, Sammy. Oh.
Fucking God, I did it again.
If you saw Sammy, guys, you know why too. Sammy.
Guys, words are hard.
Sammy is a smaller version of me. She's adorable.
Chibi Andy, is that what Sammy is to you?
Yeah, Sammy is Chibi Andy. I love it. Except she's cuter. She's got nose rings and stuff. She's adorable.
My editor informs me that it is basically time for dinner. So let me get the starred questions. I'm just gonna hit the starred questions going down real quick, and then we will go ahead and call it. How do you choose outtakes? Because the first time I heard the outtakes for Luck's voice, I almost died lifting weights.
The stream picks them, actually, guys. That's the secret there. I will babble on and riff, and then somebody in the stream will say blooper. You need to save that as a blooper, because I never think I'm funny.
And that only works if you had been right at recording at the time, because sometimes you're like in between something and then you'll say something. We're like, save it. She's like, I wasn't recording.
I don't think I'm funny. Like, so I just don't do it. I don't record that stuff. And then somebody will go, please tell me you fucking recorded that. And then I'll save it off. When I listen to it afterward, I giggle. I think it's funny. I
try to convince Andy that anytime she digresses in character voice, she should save it, because it's almost always going to be a blooper. So when you take a hard left because you're upset that Gregory's being kept out of the tournament, having Gregory going, well, you guys got to be a dick about it. I mean,
Yeah,
geez, just don't let me. I'm the only one who can't use my magic.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's fine. Throw that in as a blooper because that to me is hilarious. Because you know that there's a lot of other people out there going, yeah, Greg,
True.
tear into him.
Yeah, because they're being dicks.
DJ inventing names, throws Scrabble tiles into the air.
You know,
Well, good luck with this one. There's 3 Z's, an X, and a Y.
little part of me thinks you just got called out a little bit, just a little bit, because I think that might be how it works sometimes.
No,
Mm-hmm.
totally not. Are you ever going to make another character MC like Alvin? Jazz, if you haven't read Antecedents Legacy, you should. That's probably the next closest character I've had to an Alvin-like character who's not, I'm going to help everyone. So, do you think you'll ever write a book that is not slice of life? Probably not. I like the style I write in. My problem with a lot of books is I don't feel like we don't get enough time with characters, which is why I decided that one of the things that I decided I would touch on when I started to write things, because I want to know what's going on in somebody's life. I don't want to just see them jumping from emergency to emergency to emergency to emergency. At some point, that man is going to break. I want to have a moment where he just sits down at breakfast or, has a bath. People say I might have kinks for those things. I'm telling you, it's not a kink. Okay, stop kink shaming anyway. It's not nice.
Okay, you know what though? 1 second. On that note, people who bitch about the bathing, fuck off. Because no, with the amount of oral shit that happens in harem and stuff, the amount that y'all want, the amount y'all nasty little buggers want, and you want it when somebody's coming off 2 fucking weeks on a horse. No, you get a bath first. And I will never put up with you complaining about that. You bathe before that goes anywhere near there. No. Yeah, see? Holly's got me.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah, this is a well-held thing for me. This is a very close thing because there will not be sweaty horse ass taint 6 inches from my nose. Hell no. And no woman wants that. No. That's nasty. Y'all get a bath and you're going to put up with it.
Y'all need Jesus.
Y'all need Jesus. Jeez. Will you get a bath kink? No, he has a being clean so that he can get the other fun stuff kink, okay? Because he respects his partners. I'm done.
Preach it, Andy. Preach it.
I'm done.
Will we get some art of the mechas from Antecedents Legacy? I've been having problems getting a solid picture of them in my head. Would be happy to chip in the costs. I mean, it requires finding an artist who can do it and then also make them different enough that I don't get sued from things like BattleTech and MechWarrior, or Transformers or anything else that has giant freaking machines in it. So, would be hard to do. I'm not against it, but I have a hard time finding artists who can pull off like that level of detail in such a way that you really, really would be like, that right there is awesome. I could totally see that as a giant stompy death machine.
Yeah. Mechs in general are tough. Technology like that, like mechanical technology, is a very specific art subset that it's not as popular as fantasy stuff. It's hard to find an artist.
I can't imagine going to the bathroom in the middle of the night and seeing those things staring at you. They're talking about the meth cats, in case people are wondering where that question comes from.
I'm kind of with them on that one.
At least I think they are.
I think so. Otherwise, rude?
Right? Don't
rude.
kink shame. We've covered this already.
Right? How dare you?
In the next AR book, I wonder how many Eternal Flame clan members are going to be up there collecting. I mean, we're going to find out when we get there, Wolf, won't we?
Naughty little Eternal Flame members.
Lao Zip, remember that time you tacked mud all over my freshly swept floor? Now, go deal with the slavers.
Oh, yes.
Explains it all now.
Yes.
One time Gregory forgot to take his boots off. Fuck.
I hold a grudge like a mother.
Okay.
We're sure Greg's totally not going to raise a slave army to not die. I mean,
Never.
if he decided to like try to go all Spartacus up on the north end, I'm pretty sure that as an adept that the Emperor would be totally cool with that and wouldn't come crashing down on him like a ton of bricks or send a couple elders or something to do it for him.
Yeah, because that
So
went real well for Spartacus in the end.
I am Aether. I am Aether.
Yeah, go ahead, climb the mountain, Aether. See how it goes.
If you ever put out character art of the characters, can you make Daramaku pillows so we can snuggle up with our favorites? I mean,
Please.
once again, I'm not going to king shame.
Hey, can I just have one because I like pillows and blankets?
I just like really big pillows that I can
I just
drape
like
myself over.
pillows. I have a sexy loungy cat pillow that I sleep with every night. It's literally just a big fat cat body pillow that's like, it's got like loungy sexy face, and I sleep on its big fat tummy because I'm a child.
The reason for the juicing was in the for Alvin's head being blended. Yeah, it was in the last book. It gets touched on with Jarvis and Sammy, and it's in there. I say go back and read the last book of Apocalypse Gates. The answer is there. Andy, how did you get started as a narrator?
Oh, that's a complicated question. That, to be fair, I think I've answered it on like 17 different podcasts and stuff.
I can give you the condensed version. You were looking to get into it because of life, and William D. Rand contacted Hayes and said, "Hey, what about this?" And Hayes brought it to you. You went, "I can try that."
Kind of ancillarily. Hayes and Will were friends. Yeah, it was kind of a, hey, what's this a thing? Is this a thing you'd be interested in? Kind of the rest is history. I've gone more into detail in other like interviews and stuff like that, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Have you ever considered using characters from your fans in a book? No, because then you get into the legally gray area of using somebody else's IP, intellectual property. If I was ever going to do that, I would totally need a nice, solid contract that said yes, he can do this. I'm never going to go after him. So it's just easier to say no.
It's the same reason that I won't do cameo with people's characters. People have asked, will I ever do cameo for like characters from books and stuff like that? I don't own those characters, so I can't. Even if I got permission from an author, there's no guarantee that they're not going to come after me later. Like, it's a whole thing. So yeah,
You think
same
I'd come
thing.
after you
IP's a thing.
later? I wouldn't come after you later. I'd come
Not
after you
you.
right fucking now.
Give me my cut.
Is Sean going to open a new store using his runes like electricity one attached to the motor inside a phallic object? Because Fel and Sarat would run it.
An
Is
unbalanced object. That's the key.
is he going to set up the vibrator shop? I mean, probably not. Sean doesn't think that way. Would Fel bring it to him and he'd be like, "Yeah, I could totally do that for you." That would be way more likely.
Consider this me petitioning for Fel to advocate for vibrators in the world of Binding Words, because hell yes. That would be amazing.
I think at that point I'm probably going to need a specific scene written into a book then where the discussion took place. Yo, what? Why are you giving me side eye?
Yeah, because I'm hearing a lot of excuses, but not a lot of good ones.
Ow. Andy so mean.
I talk a big game for somebody who doesn't write books.
Freaking marshmallow threatening me. Daniel, do you have a general idea how an entire book series will go when you start writing it, or do you just wing it book by book? I start out with a framework. These are the concepts I have. So this is where I'm going to start the series. This is where the series should end. This is my end goal to get to. These are some things in the middle that would be really neat if they could line up. And then I become an after action reporter and listen to my characters do stupid shit like life bond fucking 11 staff members. Sean. So I start out with a very rough framework. I do not plot out like other people do. which is why I don't complain when some authors are like, "Yeah, it took me a year to get this book out." I'm like, "Well, if you're writing off a framework, yeah, because you're trying to make sure everything matches up with the plotting that you did ahead of time." So, speaking of art, did you find a new cover artist? Because I liked the recover for Binding Words 1. The person who did that was the same individual who did the cover for Apocalypse Gates. He normally does work for video games, and he had time in his schedule. And I asked him, and he had time in his schedule, so he went ahead and gave me the art. Yeah, well, I paid him for the art, I should say. So I didn't find a new artist. I got lucky that somebody who does really incredible art had time in their schedule and took the commission to churn it out for me. Like there's a the recover that's the same person who did the recover for Apocalypse Gates 2. And I will use him again if he gets free time. I have talked to him. He said when he does get free time next, he will talk to me because there are some covers that I would like to go back and touch up again, just to see if I can't drag more people to it. The only reason I did it for Binding Words 1 is because I talked about it a lot at Dragon Con last year, and I was like, I probably want a different cover. So when I mentioned it to people, they look at the cover and go, "Fuck, that art is great." Because as much as we say don't judge a book by its cover
Oh, people do.
all the fucking
100%.
time.
100%. It's one of the biggest things. It's one of the biggest selling points of a book, whether anybody likes it or not. It's one of the biggest selling points.
So I want to thank you all for being here. We went for 2+ hours. Apparently dinner has been ready while I have been yammering on. Andy, you've been a trooper. Thank you for being here with me.
Thank you for having me.
I will invite you back for next month's live chat. So if you guys all want to put it on your calendar, next month it will be, of course, the 15th again, because I try to hit the 15th when I can. But it'll be at 7 p.m. my time, which is 10 o'clock p.m. Andy's time. So she might pumpkin, she might not, but you are welcome anytime I do a live chat, Andy, because honestly, having a friend to talk to makes it so much nicer.
Yay! I like being here. It's fun.
So I'm going to hit the end broadcast button now. We've covered the fact that
The
words are hard.
breadcast. It's the
The
breadcast button.
I'm ending the broadcast now. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. Bye.
Bye, guys.